Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
I used to have to go in to the auto parts store. Pay too much, never find quite what I'm looking for. Now I just go online to Rock Auto and see all the parts my car will ever need. Lower prices, more parts, more brands. It's so easy to find the right parts fast. All the parts your car will ever need. Rock Auto. All the parts your car will ever need. RockAuto.com.
You served and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. We're super excited to be here for the Super Cup Series, and we are going to be racing at Daytona International Speedway. This is where the site of the big one usually is, and I am definitely excited. This 2.5-mile racetrack is going to produce some just, I do believe, high-octane action, some super excitement. Of course, my name is Brian Britt. I have Big Al in the booth with me. Big Al, how are you doing, man? Are you excited about Daytona?
Man, I'm as excited as can be. This is going to be one of those real tricky races, Brian. It's kind of like Oprah Winfrey's going to be down here handing out trophies. Because Daytona's just that kind of a track. Usually we see guys like Brandon Pasalacqua and Patrick Gator up front with Clayton Hoffman. But this week, I think it's going to be anybody's run.
Yeah, I mean, really, we could see anybody win. I mean, and not to say, I don't like to say that this is not a skill-based form of motorsport here with the play track. In a lot of ways, it is. You have to have a certain unique set of skills to be able to win at tracks like this. But the thing is it's all about decision-making as well. So if you make the right decisions at the right time, everybody's going to have the speed to actually win. You just have to put yourself in the right position. And who's going to do it? Could we see a first-time winner tonight? I do believe the first race of the season at Daytona, Mark Sanchez was able to scoop up a win, and I do believe that was his first in his ISCA career. So could we see someone else maybe grab a trophy here at Daytona, possibly enter the playoffs, and maybe, that we're kind of on the outside looking in, Big Aaron?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think there's a lot of drivers down there that are really thinking that maybe they can actually boost their playoff position even and sneak in a win here tonight.
Definitely, for sure. Of course, practice is just getting ready to wrap up. We're going to be moving on into qualifying. And let's go ahead and look at the details here for the Rock Auto 250 here. 250 miles tonight at, of course, somehow we're Michigan. We're not at Michigan. So that is, of course, false. So it looks like we got a little bit of a typo there. But 100 laps, that is correct. Stages are going to be, of course, stage 1 ending at lap 20, going to 21. Stage 2, of course, 45 going to 46. And, of course, the race is going to end on lap 100. We just switched over to the qualifying session here. And one thing I'm noticing, Big Al, is foggy. Really foggy. I'm wondering if that's going to affect the visibility. Let's ride on board with Chris Johnson as he's going to do his qualifying lap here. Now this could, and you could even see that it is definitely foggy from the, looking through the windshield here of Chris Johnson. It looks like the visibility is going to be an issue, I do believe, here at Daytona. I mean, what does this cause? Especially when visibility, I think, is probably one of the most important things about a plate track.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to be able to see where you're going, Brian, because if you can't, we really can't help you.
That's for sure. Now, let's take a look at the points. We were talking about the playoffs being so important here. So let's take a look at them. Of course, we're going to look through the top 16 or so this time around just because we're getting so close to the end of the regular season. Brandon Pasalacqua was at the top of the board right now. He has been the most consistent driver, 2 wins, 17 top fives. He has the most top fives out of everybody this season, and he has continually been stretching out that points lead, 105 points over Matt DeCiani. Brian Johnson, of course, sits in third. Patrick Gitter, he's in fourth. He's the reigning champion at the moment. Derek Heitman, of course, sits fifth. Randy Mullins in sixth. Josh Schaffner is in the seventh place position. Tim Wortman Jr., he's been slowly but surely moving up this point standing. He's in eighth. Abner Acosta, he's in ninth. Kenny Powell rounds out 10th. Let's look at the next page here. And it looks like we're having a little bit of technical woes here when it comes to switching over and looking at the points here. There we go. We got it now. Mark Sanchez, who we talked about, he won earlier in the season at Daytona. He sits in 11th place, so he is firmly within the playoff bubble. Greg Wyszynski's within the playoff bubble as well. Clayton Hoffman, he just started. I don't think he's actually going to be eligible. I think they did say maybe if he ran all the races. So we'll have to kind of put that one a check beside Clayton Hoffman. Can he possibly get the title? He is right now at least within the points bubble. Alexander Carr, of course, is John Bender, Randy Drumhiller, Of course, Miller Bond's not going to be eligible for because he's missed a lot of races. Jay Hone, though. Could Jay Hone possibly scoot his way in? I think that's going to be one we're going to be looking at as that 19. Of course, Greg Carr as well. Very close in the points as well, as you can see. That playoff bubble, very close. Only separated by I do believe, about 20 or so points. So that's feasible that we could see that edge of the playoffs shake up, especially here tonight, Big Al.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing I was actually commenting about, just the fact that we're at Daytona. So many drivers have actually won their first and only race here at Daytona, you know. So that's one of those things we'll be looking out for tonight. Not necessarily going to be one of those heavy hitters that we're used to seeing. I mean, we're really going to mix this up, especially having to stop through 2 stages. I mean, I'm just wondering, what are we even talking about as far as cautions, guys?
Well, I got to say I'm going to go 1 caution for cause. And probably people are going to be like, man, why are you're crazy. I mean, you know, this is a super speedway race. You're probably going to see more cautions than just 1 caution for cause. But I mean, the A Opens have been absolutely very clean. There's been races that have run caution free, and we already know the ISCA is a clean series, but you're going with 3.
Absolutely.
3 cautions for a cause. I got you. And I understand that, because you're probably thinking that there's going to be 1 during each stage, right?
Well, you know,
what about Kobe? Go ahead. Looks like Kobe says 2. All right. What were you saying there, Big Al? You were going to explain it?
Well, you're going to get a lot of opportunities to be racy, and that's one of the things you're going to see, especially at the Daytona. So I think these guys are going to really mix it up when it comes to in terms of actually getting those stage points. So with those 2 stages, you know, hopefully you're going to have that big draft package, and, you know, we'll have all of the cars together at the end for a photo finish, and that's going to make it exciting, but that's going to increase the probabilities of cautions.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, qualifying rounding up. Let's go ahead and take a step away, pay our some homage to, of course, our nation with our national anthem. We'll be right back.
The night time is the right time. Remember what I told all my drivers? Reach up there and pull those belts tight. One more time. Drivers, start your engines.
I used to have to go in to the auto parts store. Pay too much, never find quite what I'm looking for. Now I just go online to Rock Auto and see all the parts my car will ever need. Lower prices, more parts, more brands. It's so easy to find the right parts fast. All the parts your car will ever need. Rock Auto. All the parts your car will ever need. RockAuto.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. And, of course, we have the grid set for this evening's action. 100 laps on the docket here tonight at the World Center of Racing, Daytona. Very foggy, but let's look at what the starting grid is going to look like. Brian Johnson, who qualified on the pole with a 49.442. Of course, how about that? The Johnson brothers on the front row. Chris Johnson in second place, of course, lap time separated by about, I do believe, about 400ths. Third place, Clayton Hoffman. Brandon Pasalak was going to be starting in fourth place. Derek Jacobs. This is what we're talking about with guys that we usually do not see up towards the front. Derek Jacobs, he is a plate racer. I know for a fact this guy's capable of winning at these sort of tracks. Patrick Gitter starting sixth. Andrew Griesbaum starting seventh. Eighth place, Tim Wortman Jr. Ninth place is going to be Kenny Powell. Fifth place, Greg Wachinski. We need to talk about what their cars look like in a little bit. Of course, Kendall LeBron starting in 11th place. Matt DeCiani is going to be starting in 12th. Derek Heitman is in 13th. Greg Carr in 14th. And Matthew Cisna in 15th.
That's going to put Mark Sanchez over there in 16th place. 17th place is going to be Nick King and Randy Drumhiller in 18th. 19th place is going to be Paul Hill with Alexander Carr on his outside. Then we'll see Frank Flores. Welcome back, Triple F. Frank Flores, my dude. John Bender's going to be on his outside. Row 12 shows Randy Belk and Abner Acosta. And then we got Randy Mullins and Jose Acosta. Row 14 is Jason D. Maines and Josh Schaffner. Paul Olsen is going to be right there in 30th with the 43 car. Jose Medina will be on his outside. And Jerry Walters rounds out this 30 car field.
I do want to clarify, of course, Jerry Walters not going to be in the contest here tonight, so it will be just 30 cars here tonight. But hey, that's a lot of cars to be going around this racetrack, and I have a feeling that we're going to see a whole lot of racing. We're going to see a whole lot of three wide. I watched some of the A Opens this week, and I'll tell you what, there is a lot of three wide. That top groove here at Daytona is really, really fast, and but the only thing is, Big Al, I mean, one of the keys to the race here is going to be have a friend. You're going to want to have teammates. You're going to want to have buddies to dance with, if you will, right?
Yeah, this is one of those tracks where you just can't come out here and do it by yourself. I know a lot of drivers would like to do that, but this is really going to be a really team-dependent kind of sport. And if you got a dancing partner early, you hope that dancing partner can stick it out, because the last thing you want is to be changing dance partners once we get late into the race.
That's for sure. Can we take the time to look at the 9th and 10th place car, Kenny Powell? Let's look at his car first. I want to look at the front end of that race car. And Big Al, you tell me who that is on the front end of that car.
Well, by God, that's Big Al.
And it is, and I do believe it even says it on the door there. What is it? Race for show, pit for dough. I do believe
right.
One of your catchphrases. And I know last week you had said you had said that your name had never been on a race car, because mine was on a race car last week, and right. Kenny felt bad, so he put your face on the car, and it even says Alfonso Nixon, I do believe, Appreciation Week. And let's take a look at the 5 car, though. Apparently, they wanted to put me on that car.
That's dirty right there. I mean, that whole picture's dirty, 100%. But look,
and that's all what I say. I say that all the time, 100%. That's one of my catchphrases.
Well, Greg's going to do okay, but Kenny has definitely got the car here to win this thing. He's dressed to show. I mean, I think that 24 car's going to be pulling pretty strong here, man. And then remember, guys, it's Big Al Appreciation Week up in this thing.
It is. I mean, and we should appreciate Big Al, that's for sure. And that thing's got to be good for what, about 30 horsepower. That picture on that car, in front of that car. I mean, it's got to be right. I mean, you so smooth that the air's gonna glide right over that race car.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to get me some bugs in my grill. That's what's getting ready to happen. Probably kissing a couple booties here before it's over too. If Kenny gets that nose in there right.
That's hilarious. About to die in here. That's too funny. But here we go. Pace car going to be dipping down pit road on a foggy day at Daytona. I don't even know if it's safe to be racing here as the green flag is out. And, man, it's going to be tough to really know who's who with all this fog. I hope it clears up as this race goes on. As lap 1 is underway. Chris Johnson leading that top line while Brian Johnson leads the bottom. Let's see which line is going to be stronger here early as Clayton Hoffman's all over the keister of the 4 machine. And already we've seen that top line kind of pull out a little bit. I expect them they're going to be fast on this backstretch. Backstretch is very strong at Daytona. As they move down, Patrick Gitter jumps up down in front of Brian Johnson. Of course, we see Chris Johnson. He's going to possibly lead the first lap as he's being pushed by Brandon Pascalacqua through 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's funny that bottom line seems to be hooked up and running pretty strong. Bottom line, really trying to get it formed. These guys are trying to make their way up to the front, but right now, just not really going to be able to make it. Now, I know these guys want to try to get that top line working sooner than later. We're just going to have to keep checking to see how many guys are going to be committed to being up top and if they can actually make it work up top.
I'm telling you, we're going to need somebody to come out here and blow all this fog away. I mean, it is so difficult to see, and I can imagine what it looks like for some of these drivers. I mean, visibility is going to be so important as we're looking through Chris Johnson's eyes. I would like to actually look through Brandon Pascalacqua's eyes if we can to kind of see what it looks like through his eyes. It looks like, he, sitting in the seat, actually, it ain't too bad. But I tell you what, from my view in the booth up here, it's foggy. Like, it's hard to see the drivers down on the racetrack. I don't know about you, Big Al.
Yeah, absolutely. Big Al struggling, with technical issues. But it is, you're definitely right, it's been a little visually challenging for all of us here tonight. But that top line definitely getting hooked up, Brian. Looks like those guys are going to be able to probably make that work just a little bit, but to see how long it takes them to actually get parallel and equal with that bottom row.
Of course, seeing the big line, the top groove is starting to move, though. We see Tim DeWortman Jr. and Greg Wachinski working together there. I do believe they're sitting at the moment in 4th and 6th or 5th, I should say, as we see a little bit of a loose condition there from Wortman. Now, one thing about these next-gen cars, they are very good at accepting bump drafts. The Xfinity, not so good. You're going to see, if we were to race the Xfinities here tonight, we would see they're not very stable when it comes to actually contact between the bumpers. But these next gens love it. They seem to just be able to push through the corners. They seem to be able to push. You can even push the pusher somewhat. But they still do have the ability to get a little squirrely if you do not hit them square. That's the key. You have to hit them square.
And that's definitely right. One thing that we have actually been able to do with the introduction of this next-gen car, you can actually push the pusher. That was something that you never, ever heard in the precursor to these cars, Brian. It was the ultimate no-no. Now, drivers are kind of encouraged to do that. As you see that 3-car breakaway up front there with the 66, the 6, and the 21, I think these guys right now starting to get a little bit of distance as the field on that bottom row especially starts to kind of feather out. That might actually help that top row, if they stay committed, actually gain a little bit of ground.
Yeah, we're seeing a big disconnect, I do believe, for the top 5 there. As Derek Jacobs kind of backs off. He looks like he's backed off.
Greg's in the middle. He got left out to dry. Not where he wants to be. He's definitely, that 5 car is going to be trying to find him a hole. Sooner or later, hopefully his GG teammate Kenny Powell will let him in. Not going to happen. Kenny was straddling that yellow line. Greg is going to seem to duck back in on the top. That could have been a lot worse for him. Looks like he only maybe lost about 3 or 4 positions.
Yeah, I think he's going to get picked up by the 29 of Mark Sanchez. As Sanchez, of course, gets to the rear end, he gets him up to speed. We see Kenny Powell moves up to the top there. Like what I'm seeing there from the 1 of Matt DeCiani. He's working. Oh! DeCiani jumps down in front of Griezmann. Griezmann almost comes up into Derek Heitman. Heitman was, of course, the driver that was pushing the 1 machine. Those Team Conti guys seem like they have some fast race cars here tonight.
Yeah, that top line is now made its momentum up, Brian. It is caught up to the bottom line. They are nose to nose with the 21 car leading the chase right there.
Yeah, we do apologize for anybody at home. Do want to apologize to anybody at home that's having trouble seeing the race cars on the racetrack out there. We're having that same problem. I'm having to be in the chopper cam in order to be able to even see which car is which in some of these corners. But yeah, Patrick Gitter is in control of the race right now. We see, of course, Chris Johnson trying to wrangle it from him as Hoffman is doing a great job of pushing the 21. We see Tim Wortman Jr., who was already fast on that top line. He is with the 92 as well. So we do have a little bit of a mixture of Team Conti drivers working with, of course, I do believe Clayton Hoffman, who's a nitro racer.
Well, yeah, you're going to have to mix it up just a little bit, especially this early in the race if you're going to want to have a chance. You know, sometimes you find yourself dancing with people that you never would have danced with, but all of that in the name of going fast.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you're going to have to work with guys maybe you're not comfortable with working with. You know, that's just something you're going to have to do. Beggars can't be choosers at tracks like Daytona. I mean, if you choose to not work with someone, it's probably going to be at your detriment. You're going to find yourself moving back to the back. But then again, there are instances to where we'll see like maybe somebody has done something wrong to you this season. This would be that track to where you would maybe treat them like they got the plague. Tim Wortman gets a bump from the rear end of Chris Johnson, almost gets into the 92. That almost ended up badly. But, of course, Wortman was able to keep that wheel steady. And, of course, he's going to stay in line in that third-place position for now as we see Matt DeCiani moving high and going to get some speed up there. He's, of course, being followed by Derek Heitman and Kenny Powell.
Yeah, Clayton Hoffman definitely has his nose buried into the keys to the 21 car. He is doing everything he needs to do, pushing that car, trying to keep him up front. Now, the Highline also getting a little bumpy going on there, Brian. But one thing that I noticed, I think it takes 3 to tango at Daytona on this setup.
Yeah, it seems like it is where we're looking off the hood camera, or the roof camera, I do believe, of Kenny Powell's race car, and saw a familiar face on that race car. As looking at it, I mean, Kenny and Greg are drafting together, so technically, Big Al, me and you are drafting together right now.
Absolutely, brother.
We're working together on the racetrack up here in the booth. I mean, if Kenny wins, you win, Big Al. If I or Greg wins, I win. So I mean, really, we're gonna do the victory celebrations.
Man, you know, I'm always a winner.
That's right.
No,
I hear you.
Not a loser. But it is interesting how how the D&G guys, though, definitely seem to be committed to the high line, and they all running up top one behind another. At least 3 of them. And you got Randy Drumhiller back there as well.
I mean, look at the speed they're generating right now. Kenny Powell is flying. I mean, these guys are really, really moving. They seem like they brought some really fast race cars here. The G&G guys, I mean, of course, since the arrival of a lot of these extremely fast drivers that have shown up in this league, I mean, they have been finding it hard to get to victory lane. I mean, I've even heard Kenny say that. He's like, man, it's hard to win in my league. And that's got to be a tough thing for an owner of a league to show up. And he wants to be able to be, competitive and be able to win. But with all these super, super talented, almost pro-level drivers, it's incredibly difficult to do. So you got to think G&G probably brought everything. They tried to figure out exactly what they could do. Oh, Kenny Powell into the outside wall. Speaking of Powell, Big Al into the outside wall. Unfortunately, that was, I think, a bad bump from Greg Wachinski. I'm wondering if we can look back at that. Let's take a look at it and see exactly what happened. No caution flag for this incident. We could maybe take a far chase. I think that'd be a better camera angle. There we go. We'll see Kenny Powell, of course, sitting right there. We see Greg, pretty good bump. He stays on his bumper, essentially, but then hits him in the corner.
No, you can't do that.
In the corner. Kenny goes up the racetrack hard into the wall, too.
And
I think
he broke that toe link. Kenny's got that dreaded repairs required flags. He's going to hate that, Brian. Not only is he going to lose the draft, he's going to lose enough laps to take him out of contention again this week. Because, Daytona is not one of those places where you can go 2-3 laps down and expect to be competitive or even to, kind of finish the thing.
Well, that's the thing. Kenny is still on the racetrack. He has a meatball?
He's 3 laps. Yeah. I think, you got 3 laps to actually serve that, so he'll be coming in soon.
Car doesn't even look slow, really. Man, that's crazy. And I think because of that accident, we saw the pack split up, really. We might see another accident here because we're seeing a lot of wiggling back here in this second pack. And we're looking at the front pack, but I think where we need to be looking is the second pack. The second pack has got a lot of catastrophe drama-looking things going on back here as here goes Skinny Pound to pit road. I see him now.
We're putting this out in the Kool-Aid back there in that second pack, man. It ain't looking right. It ain't feeling right. It ain't tasting right. But they are slowly gaining back up on that lead pack. And you're right. Once that Kenny Powell contact happened, it sent ripples through the entire field. But Brian, look at Matt DeCiani, man. This dude is like, I don't know what he's got under the hood of that thing, but he has literally been, leaving the pack. When he and Derek Heitman came around the nose of 21 getter with Hoffman pushing, they just pulled away from those guys.
And they're steadily doing it. I mean, look at how fast they are. It seems like Heitman and DeCiani, their cars are lined, it seems like they are built to be able to work together. And sometimes you'll see that where some drivers will build their setup to be able to push and another driver will build their setup to be able to lead. And maybe that's what's going on here with the 76. 76 backs off, though. One thing about it, though, Big Al, is we do have to deal with temperature, the temperature of the engine. And I think that's why we're seeing the one in the 76 starting to fall back, because the 76 could not push him anymore. That could have almost been a test for those guys to kind of see what's the limit. How hard can I push you before that engine starts to overheat?
Yeah, and that's the thing that drivers are definitely going to have to be really cognizant of. You're absolutely correct about that. Because that's one thing that we have seen over the last couple of years. We've seen the temperature in these engines definitely start to get up a little bit on the high side, and drivers have had to adjust accordingly.
We're on lap 16. Now 5 laps to go in stage number 1. This stage has really been flying right on by here tonight. And if the race stays like this is going to be a very quick race here this evening. Of course, Matt DeCiani in control of the race right now. And it just seems like these guys, Heitman and DeCiani, can just flip a switch and all of a sudden their cars take off. This really doesn't surprise me, though, Big Al. I mean, when we talked to the Conti guys last week, we asked them, like, well, how are you feeling about Daytona? I heard excitement. I heard that they were excited about it. They seem, they're Team Conti. It's in the name, team. They're ready for this. Well, the only thing is, though, is what if that team gets taken out? That's the thing about it. I mean, with Daytona, we can see an accident. We've already seen it with G&G. G&G just took out one of his own. It's so easy to mark one off the team roster there, or should I say, not team roster. Big move there.
Up front. There's an accident, the contact right there. Clayton Hoffman.
That almost.
Got to see how.
And that almost took out Conti. That almost took out a couple Conti drivers. As that is definitely rattled everyone. Is Clayton Hoffman.
I was just going to say, it's go time when there's 3 laps into this thing here. 3 laps to go in the stage. That's go time at Daytona. It's time to start getting lined up. But these guys right now, man, they're everything but not loose. And that's what we'll see. And I think that's the tell of the tape right now, is the high line definitely starts to pull and get a run on the low line, but that's still being led by the one and only. Well, that's Chris. Nope, that's Matt DeCiani up front.
Yeah, Chris Johnson had taken the lead there for a second. I mean, he was able to kind of utilize that little bit of a wiggle that happened there with Patrick Gitter. And we saw, of course, Clayton fall back. Clayton's well out of the top 20 now. Abner Acosta, though, big run on the inside. He's being pushed by Chris Johnson. Abner was behind the 76. He saw an opening, and he jumped down in front of the 56 of Chris Johnson. So, Abner's not someone I really would think is good at plate racing, but apparently he's proven that that's not the case. I mean, I always think he's going to be good at tracks with the brake. That's where the brake pedal is used. That's where he's – I'm just saying that, classically he's always good at the tracks where you use a brake pedal. This is not a track where you're using a brake pedal.
I think he's a master of all 3 pedals. We're going to give him that. There's contact right there. This is going to be a big one. Cars everywhere. The Penske car just goes around in the pack. No caution is out. That caution will be premature, but it will count as a stage caution. Let's go back, take a look, and see exactly what took place.
Yeah, this is unfortunate. I do believe this started at the front. I do believe we're going to see, I think, the 76 of Derek Heitman go up into the fence, and this is going to cause some.
Heitman has that dreaded repairs required flag along with Brian Johnson.
So, yeah, we could see that it looked like Mark Sanchez got into the rear end of the 76. I think the 76 was following the driver in front of him.
But seems like everybody else fared okay, Brian. Just 2 meatball flags in that. Oh, yeah, Greg Watinsky took up. Oh, Greg Watinsky. Watinsky getting tapped on both corners and the nose.
Why is it the drivers that have our faces on the cars are getting taken out? I think they don't like us, Miguel. I think that's what they're trying to say. But look at this. I mean, it's a rough incident, I got to say.
Yeah, man, especially for some of those guys. You know, this is one of the, it's Daytona. I don't know. That's the only thing I can say about it. When you come to Daytona, you expect the wreck. Now, the question is this caution has to count other than the stage break?
This is definitely the stage 1 break here. Matt DeCiani, I do believe, is going to be your stage 1 winner. Of course, Abner Acosta 2nd, Chris Johnson 3rd, Brandon Pasalacqua 4th, Derek Heitman 5th, Tim Wortman Jr. 6th, Mark Sanchez 7th, Patrick Gitter 8th, Jose Acosta 9th, and Josh Schaffner 10th. That's the top 10 finishers. We're not going to take a break. We would usually take a commercial break, but I don't think we're going to have time, so we're going to go ahead and pull up our stage 1 winner after he completes his pit stop. Our stage 1 winner, of course, Matt DeCiani, driver of the 1 machine. Just coming off of pit road right now. We'll go ahead and grab him up. Those guys are really far down there. Why they got to be so far? All righty, we got a Matt DeCiani. Had to go hunting for you. Matt, stage 1 in the banks. Going to be some good points for you. I know you're 2nd place in the points right now. How important are these stage points?
The stage points don't really mean anything. The playoff points more important at this point in the season. But, yeah, we'll take it.
And I know we kind of saw a little bit of, I think, chaos among the teammates there. What was going on? Was it just like some miscommunications? What was happening there?
I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about, but I mean, I just know Derek got driven through twice. Yeah, I mean, guys aren't lifting. I mean, we're gonna have a ton of wrecks if guys are driving through guys, pushing guys. So I mean, we're gonna have a lot of junk cars if that keeps happening.
Well, what I'm referring to is I saw another issue with Patrick Gitter. Gitter had an issue, of course, that sent Clayton Hoffman all the way back outside of the top 20. And I was just wondering maybe if there was some miscommunications going on, or maybe there's some circumstances we don't know about. But no, I understand that. Yeah, it seems like Derek definitely did get hit in the rear end by Mark Sanchez. So yeah, definitely unfortunate for him. Do you know how the damage looks for him?
Pretty sure he's meatballed, so we're probably going to be down a teammate here, but maybe he'll get it fixed and stick around and help one of us. But yeah, I'm not sure what his plan is right now.
Well, it definitely seemed like you guys have a fast race car. You seem like you're able to flip a switch and really just drive away in some regards. Was that like some experimenting you guys were doing there?
We've done this before. We know what we're doing. Just managing temps, so we don't need a push. Just cool the motor down. So yeah, I mean, kind of just playing, just seeing how long we can push. But yeah, just typical super speed racing.
All right. Well, who can we shout out before we let you get back to it?
Yeah, Team Conti, Martin PC, my teammates.
All right. Thanks, Matt. We'll see you. We'll see you hopefully later in the race.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Definitely a little bit of sore feelings there, I do believe, Big Al, between sounds like, some issues. On the racetrack, not happy with how Derek was being raced there. We're getting ready to get this thing back underway as we, of course, are filing down the backstretch. Pace car lights have gone out as Matt DeCiani is going to be the control car. But this is a racetrack that you really don't want to leave early. I mean, other tracks, I would say, yeah, not jump the start, but go a little early. Try to make people, be unpredictable, I guess you could say. This is not one of those kind of tracks. You want everybody to be together because the thing is the draft is the lifeblood of your speed. I mean, that is how you're going to go fast at this racetrack. Is you're going to want to have that guy behind you helping you. And in a lot of ways, I see Matt DeCiani is kind of alone right now. He's got to get Patrick Gitter up to him.
You know, and it's a lot of things too, Brian. I mean, all of the good drivers that had damage have got that damage repaired right now, and everybody that started this thing is still in this thing. That's good news. I don't think they're down a teammate. But we're getting ready to get back racing, and we are still one to the caution sequence because that caution actually counted as a caution to include a stage break. So getting closer to that 3 number.
That was definitely a caution for cause, so I agree. As we enter the Geico restart zone, green flag is back out on the speedway, and Matt DeCiani up through the gears. He goes a little bit earlier than I think I would have, as we, of course, see Chris Johnson's going to get a good run up to the back end of the one machine. We see Brandon Pasalacqua jumps down to the bottom. Abner Acosta, he's up on the top, being followed by Tim Wortman Jr. As already we're back racing.
I think Abner's made a point today that he is actually going to run up front of this thing because, you know, he kind of came out of nowhere and then he was up front, and I think he's going to stay up there for a while. Also, brother Jose in the top 10 for the first time tonight.
Yeah, for sure. And I do want to mention Abner Acosta started in 24th. So he is, at the moment, the biggest mover.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to stop moving, Brian. If anything, he looks like he's really got his mind in this thing. He's making all of the right moves as well. That's one thing that we've been watching. Now, some of the guys are kind of waiting a little bit late, and it is hard to pass here, so you kind of got to get moving through the traffic a little earlier than waiting until the last minute.
Well, I mean, yeah, you have to get in position to be able to win this race. I mean, you're not going to be able to win it on the last lap from 20th. I mean, unless a big wreck happens. I mean, you really have to methodically work your way through the field here. Now, you know, and it's all about decision making, picking dancing partners, kind of picking openings. You know, that's essentially the way you succeed at this racetrack. As we see, of course, Josh Schaffner. I do believe this is the first time he's been up in the top 5. He's sitting behind Tim Wortman Jr. You talked about Jose. Jose is definitely one I think I'd put beside, or a mark beside his name as someone that is capable of easily winning this race, considering very aggressive driver, willing to make moves. And I think that's what's required at a track like Daytona in order to be able to, you know, have that trophy. I also want to mention, you mentioned it when we were going through the running order, or should I say the starting grid. Frank Flores, glad to have him back. He's sitting in 7th right now, actually quickly moving up to 5th. Could he win his first race back?
Man, it's great to see that high line being the chosen line. Right now, Abner's leading that high line, and it's doing kind of what I thought it was going to do, Brian. Now looking like they're going to have a solid 3-4 car lead over the bottom. Question is, you got to hope these guys stay committed. Josh Schaffner's back there, the 42 car of Jose Acosta's right there. Yeah, man, we got ourselves a run going on here.
Yeah, we definitely do. I mean, this could go any number of ways. Bottom line, though, has started to catch back up here, and I think a lot of it comes down to the temperature. I mean, we even heard Matt say it's like how hard can I push? How long can we push? And I think that's what it's all about. I mean, these guys up on the top side, you know, Tim Wortman Jr., I bet his temperature is not low right now. I bet that's the whole reason that bottom side is catching back up to them, because he has to back off. He cannot hold that gas pedal down for too long, or stay in that front bumper of that, or the back bumper, I should say, of Abner Acosta for too long, because you got to think there's not as much air getting to that 83 when he does that. Yep. Those vents that are on the front end of that race car are not getting any air.
When 21 comes up, that caused the 8 of Frank Flores to really check up. Flores is running pretty strong, but right there, Patrick Gitter jumps up in his lap, and I think he just kind of, you know, it's like a car in my car. I don't know what Frank wanted to do there. He didn't like it.
No, he didn't. Patrick Gitter trying to weave his way back through traffic up to 9th place right now. We see, of course, it's Randy Belt up in the top 10. He sits in 7th at the moment as we are side by side.
3 wide. 3 wide at the stripe right there.
Yeah, we see Greg Carr on the outside. Jason Maines in the middle there. Jason's been fast all season ever since he joined this series. What can he do? Can he maybe work his way forward? Of course, he is the father of professional iRacer Garrett Maines. And, of course, very fast. It's proven to be fast as we see a battle going on between those two. I think we see Andrew Griesbaum. He's back as well, working his way up to the back end of the 92 of Clayton Hoffman. Hoffman, after a big moment in Stage 1, has fought his way back up tonight.
Or is still falling back here, but we still got a little bit of a 3-wide situation going as he has his car down on the inside, and the 45 looks like it might join up behind him. Clayton Hoffman out into the middle there, just unexpected a little bit. Sometimes, Brian, when you get a run on somebody and it sucks you right up in there, you don't want to lose momentum, so just kind of, hop around them, I guess.
No, that was a scary scenario. That was kind of like, I think Clayton just maybe had some dirty air or something that caused that big wiggle all of a sudden. But you can see this bottom lane is really checking up a lot. Now, and a lot of times that can cause exactly what's going on with Clayton as well. Like he's having to get out of the throttle. That unsettles the race car. It just seems like, it's a little bit of contact there.
I think we're lining it up.
26, Paul Hill coming through. He contacts with Jason Maines a little bit there. Jason Maines in the middle, 3 wide. This could be an incident.
I think that's what I've been trying to say, just that point. I think we're lining this thing up here for our second catastrophe of the evening. It's not going to happen up front, but these guys are bobbing and weaving a lot, man. It's like they're fighting Mike Tyson in the front with Muhammad Ali behind.
Yeah, this is definitely looking scary. I mean, you see Jason Maines, of course, being pushed by Kendall LeVron in the middle. Paul Hill trying to work his way up to through the field. He's up to 10th right now. And we got Greg Carr as well. I mean, we got a just gaggle of race cars. And I think Maines can get down to the bottom now if he wants. Will he?
What are your thoughts about that 3-wide action going on back there, though, honestly?
I don't think it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to go 3-wide at Daytona. It's just, can you hold your line? That's the question that we have to ask. I mean, if you can't hold your line, then yeah, you don't have any business being 3-wide. It's Jose Acosta.
In the front.
He just pushed Tim Wortman Jr. almost out of the way and took over second place. It's going to get ugly because that just slowed down Wortman a ton. Wortman almost like a parachute hit that race car when Jose kind of shifted him out. I wouldn't say he bumped him out of the way, but he definitely shifted him out.
Yeah, that's one thing. Drivers are getting in the groove right now. One of the things that you're doing is you're trying to see how other drivers handle that pack action, because not everybody is cut to be driving in close proximity with other drivers. So this gives you a true chance to see if a guy's stable or unstable, because, man, I found out a lot of guys can't hold a drink, a line, or a job.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and that's why I said earlier, I think at the time of the broadcast, that this is not, even though everybody thinks, anybody can win. Yes, anybody can win one of these plate races, but it still is a skill. I mean, you can win a plate race. A broken clock can be right twice a day. Yeah, you're right, 100%. But in order to consistently be good at these racetracks, you have to have some skill. There has to be some skill. You have to be able to hold a steady wheel. You have to be able to hold a steady line. You got to know how the draft works. I mean, there's all kinds of variables in this form of racing.
I mean, I understand the recipe. I think we all do, but the problem is you don't get prime ingredients on race night when it comes to super speedways. Everybody thinks they can run and drive on a super speedway because you just hold
Everybody
it
thinks
down
they're
and turn
nailing
left. Yeah, but, just like you said, there's a lot more that goes into it than that. Abner, though, slowly starting to get that high line running in, has brother Jose tucked in behind him. Frank Flores actually made his way back up to the front, and he is going to slowly be trying to get up there to be of as much assistance as he can as Patrick Gitter jumps up in front of the high line for the time.
Yeah. Now, this is going to be the scary thing because there's an equation here. There's a formula, essentially, here, that when you jump up in front of someone, there is it's an equation. If one side of that equation don't equal the other, there's going to be a wreck. If Abner does not consent to Patrick Gitter jumping up in front of him, and he don't lift, or there could be an accident. That's one thing. We're going to see blocking, and it happens all the time in plate racing. But that's, I think, what makes plate racing the most dangerous form, or should I say, discipline in NASCAR, right? I mean, because of the blocking, because of the late move where you jump up in front of someone and they stay in at the throttle and they mash, they bump in the rear of you, and then we see a collision and a crash. That's why you see the big wrecks in these races.
And to go here, this is when drivers are definitely going to start in their mind and working out their strategies because they can see who is around them. And right now, we're probably going to be in the second highest probability for a caution that we've been in the race so far. I think it's going to get even more squirrely as we get this thing down to within 5 and then sub 3. I think is where you're probably going to see some contact.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think we're going to see possibly some contact here, maybe some crashes that unfold as we get closer and closer. We're now coming up to 10 laps to go in stage number 2. As we click off these laps, it's going to get more and more intense. As right now, everybody it looks like double file, which looks pretty calm and collected right now, but I do believe we're going to see 3 wide within a few laps.
Yeah, nobody's taking it easy on the stage, even though probably the majority of the drivers don't really benefit anything from the stage. I think this is right now just for pure bragging rights. Josh Schaffner doing his thing, leaving that bottom line. We know the Iceman has cometh, and he's sprinkling corn seeds behind him, Brian, hoping that he can actually, make some corn grow.
Well, I'll tell you what, that caused a lot of problems for the drivers out here. if they just started growing corn, Jason Maines, he has been really aggressive. Jason Maines trying to come through the middle. He, of course, has Paul Hill right behind him. He almost had some contact with the 3 of Nick King. Fortunately, no accident happened there, but we are 3 wide. I did say it would happen. I didn't think it would be this soon. Of course, Paul Hill trying to push the one machine, and if they can get this run going, I don't know. This is just dangerous. I mean, I don't mind 3 wide. I think 3 wide is doable, but I just don't know if you.
We definitely have enough track for it. The problem is, it's problematic. That is the one thing that's wrong with 3 wide. It's simply problematic, especially if it's not to the end of the race. Right now, you're really not going to gain a whole lot except for just make it a whole lot more sporty. But, hey, that's what we're here to do. We're here to call the race. And that middle line now is starting to move up a little bit as they're about maybe 4 cars from the lead on the bottom and maybe 6 from the top.
They definitely got a good bit of momentum. I mean, they're benefiting from the draft on the top and the bottom because, in a lot of ways, of course, the bottom line and the top line are cutting through the air and the middle groove, maybe they don't have to deal with as much resistance, but then again, they might actually be having to deal with more because you got to think there's wind coming off of both of the top and the bottom, so that could make these cars a little bit more squirrely in the middle.
I'll tell you, the one thing that's going to make it really squirrely is if drivers try to block to get from the top to the bottom, they're going to have to take the middle into consideration because if those guys aren't going anywhere, that means they're still going to be right there, and it looks like Mr. Maines is trying to make his way, gain all the ground that he can.
Top 10, of course, that would help him when it comes to stage points, and he definitely's got the speed. I mean, he's working his way forward. He's in, I do believe, 9th place right now, and quickly coming up to the top 5 with the help of Paul Hill. Paul Hill is giving him some really good pushes. Nick King, who was up on that top group, moved down to get in this middle group because this seems to be where the speed is. As you can see, Jose just threw a block.
See here, now you see that middle group is trying to dissolve itself and become the bottom group, and that doesn't work out too well because you haven't been uphill with these guys, and now it appears that the 45 is just staggering that bottom line right now. The middle is faster. We got to figure out how to ungaggle this.
Yeah, Jason Maines jumped down to the bottom, and everyone
big checkup right here.
It seemed like, the bottom line has just lost all their momentum. As you can see, Brandon Pasolaco, he moves up to the top. You see that top line is starting to move. We have a lot of action here on the racetrack as Clayton Hoffman moves down to the bottom. Jason Maines right back to the middle. I mean, I don't know why. Why did you leave the middle, Jason? I just don't get it. Like, you should have stayed where you were. Y'all were having some great success, but then he moved down to the bottom. That just slowed the entire lane down.
And I think what's going to happen is he's not going to have the same benefit. Next time he jumps out in the middle, people aren't going to be as, willing to go out there with him because he literally left those guys high and dry.
And that's one thing about plate racing. I mean, that's something about it. I mean, if you stick with a guy all race long, and then if you do that, you'll gain some sort of reputation or rapport with him, right? To where later in the race, let's say he gets behind you, he's going to stick with you. He's going to push you possibly to the win. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. I mean, everything you do on this racetrack, guys remember that. So if you do leave someone high and dry, they might leave you high and dry because you didn't stick with them.
Yeah, good luck finding somebody to push you to the window, especially if they're not a teammate. I mean, I think right now everybody has one particular mindset, and that's, me.
I'll tell you what, look at who's in the lead right now, just kind of eked out to the lead right now. Frank Flores, first race back. He's taken quite a hiatus away from racing here on the ISCA. Back in action here, and he is absolutely flying. He's got Clayton Hoffman on his rear end. Can he win Stage 2? I don't think he's ever won a stage, Big Al. Could he do it?
Man, we still got 3 laps to go. I mean, we're coming up on go time. So that whole, the bottom row, the top row, this entire sandwich right here is going to unshuffle itself. And you're going to see that happen.
Well, I hope it's a good sandwich. I like sandwiches. I mean,
it's going to be a deconstructed mess.
Oh, that don't sound that good. I mean, I wouldn't mind a turkey and some pickles and mayonnaise and some lettuce and tomato. Speaking of sandwiches, I want a sandwich. I'm just playing. Patrick Gitter, though, in control right now. He's, of course, got Abner Acosta right there behind him. Of course, Jose Acosta as well. A great job for Greg Carr. He's up in, been hovering around this top 10. Nick King as well, looking good. I love that paint scheme from Nick King. Of course, running that's an old school Dale throwback. Essentially, Dale Earnhardt, I do believe, was around 1998 when he had that paint. And I absolutely love that gold, number 3. And that would be a appropriate paint to win here at Daytona, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
But here we go. We are currently 2 to go, coming up to the white flag here for stage number 2. It's a duel, essentially, for this stage win. Who is going to get it? Will it be Frank Flores? Will it be Patrick Gitter? Does someone jump out at the last second, maybe steal this one away? As we're now going to the white flag. Looks like we got somebody maybe short pitting the stage, possibly.
You can do that on a track like this.
It's a big track. I mean, you could probably be able to pit and not lose a lap. Who is that? I think that's Jason Maines. Jason Maines going to be pitting the stage.
Go, Jason. He'll get it back on the wave around.
Big move here. Abner Acosta jumps to the bottom with Jose Acosta. The Acosta brothers working together. You could tell they coordinated this. They're definitely in each other's ears talking. As Abner Acosta got out of a cannon. He gets out to a little bit of a gap. I don't know if I want to have this kind of a gap. Will he make it to? He goes a big block on Patrick Gitter, but Gitter's going to get there. And Patrick Gitter able to get the stage win. Greg Carr, though, almost was able to get it. Look at how close Carr got. Wow, what a thrilling end to stage 2. Patrick Gitter, your stage 2 winner. Abner Acosta finishes 2nd. Jose Acosta 3rd. Greg Carr 4th. Randy Drumhiller in 5th. Frank Flores 6th. Clayton Hoffman 7th. Alexander Carr 8th. Paul Hill in 9th. Randy Belk in 10th. And I think actually Greg Carr might have actually finished 3rd. So we have a little bit of a shuffle here. Guys trying to get into their appropriate position. But we're going to take a brief step away. We'll come right back and we'll talk to our stage 2 winner.
I used to have to go in to the auto parts store. Paid too much, never find quite what I'm looking for. Now I just go online to Rock Auto and see all the parts my car will ever need. Lower prices, more parts, more brands. It's so easy to find the right parts fast. All the parts your car will ever need. Rock Auto. All the parts your car will ever need. RockAuto.com.
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallenVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallenVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallenVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallenVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. Of course, my name is Brian Britt. Big Al is my co-commentator here tonight. A little bit of a change of plans. I said we were going to talk to a Stage 2 winner, but Big Al, he wants to talk to Frank Flores. Big Al standing by.
Frank Flores, Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, I do, sir. How you doing, buddy?
Definitely doing pretty good, man. Good to see you down there. I mean, not just seeing you back down there, but hey, buddy, you were actually leading this gaggle for a couple of seconds.
Oh, yeah, that was a big help from Clayton and, the rest of us, Yeah, it was pretty intense.
Yeah, doesn't seem to be too many cobwebs in your way, man. So tell us, what do we owe your presence this evening?
Well, I said I would run part-time. I just, it's tough, and our work is kind of slow this week, and so ain't gonna much going on. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do a race. I haven't done it in a while, and I missed it. Missed you guys, so here I am. Really, that's the real reason.
Well, we're definitely glad to have you back, man, and for no matter how long it is. But hey, that's just going to be a short one here. Unless you got anything you want to tell us. Did you win the lottery or anything like that?
No lottery. I just like I said, I'm just been doing my thing, and here I am, Glad to be back up here with you guys and, to be racing with you guys again and trying to get rid of some of those cobwebs.
How many laps you put in this week getting ready for tonight's contest?
0. Other than Sunday during that test session, really. So, really, basically 0. It's super speedways. Ain't nothing, it's really not much just other than the draft, and it's the same old story,
All right, roger that. Hey, who you shouting out tonight here, buddy? Just since we got you up here.
Well, I'm going to do this in reverse order. I'm going to shout out to both of you guys up there in the booth. You're always doing a fantastic job. And also to Kenny in this league and all these drivers. Also, Team Conti, Sim Performance, great setup as always. Body Magic, and that's about it.
All right, bud. Glad to have you back, man. Good luck to you. Hopefully we'll see you up here on the podium at the end of this thing.
I hope so, too. Thanks, guys.
Alrighty, that was Frank Flores. Had to get him in his appropriate place, but we definitely appreciate him joining us up in the booth. Of course, I do believe he lost quite a couple of positions. I think he's back in, I do believe, outside of the top 10 now, but I think he's got the speed to work his way forward. Patrick Gitter at the moment is in the lead. Green flag is getting ready to fly here in just a moment. It's the pace car gets prepared to take that left turn down pit road. And I'll tell you what, we're getting ready to start stage 3. This is when the race begins, Big Al. Of course, I don't think we talked about the fuel window. It's about 42 laps. The green flag is out. I really hope we go green at this last stage. I want to see some green flag pit stops here tonight at Daytona, Big Al.
I need 2 more cautions.
Well, so I guess we're not exactly agreeing on what we want to see here. As after Acosta, big run for him, of course, with brother Jose. Now, wouldn't it be something to see the brothers be able to 1-2 this race? I think that'd be a really cool thing. Of course, Kendall LeBron, he was involved in the accident earlier, I do believe, with Mark Sanchez, who got into the rear end of Derek Heitman. We saw, of course, the ripple effect that went out throughout this field. Kendall was one of the guys that got involved in that, was spinning in the 60s. Somehow he's up here in 3rd, so the damage must not have affected him too badly.
So, inquiring minds want to know what happened with Jason Maines. I mean, he short pitted the session, which seemed like he would have been out front, but now he finds himself all the way back in 14th.
I don't know. I guess he short pitted. He did, but then I guess he didn't stay out, because the only way he would have been able to, he should have been in the lead. Because if you stay out, you're in the lead. But apparently he went back down pit road again, possibly. So not quite sure what happened there. That's definitely a very good question, as we see, of course, Patrick Gitter drafting with Greg Carr on the bottom line. Abner Acosta is in control still. Nick King, I do want to mention, of course, Kendall LeBron, we know he drives for Team Watson Racing Setup. But we also know Nick King, he is a driver in Warrior Racing. Kendall is a member of the Warrior Racing team as well. So those guys are working together, clearly, on the same team. So glad to see those guys have kind of hooked up as well. See Paul Hill, of course, drafting his way up to the back end of Chris Johnson. As for the most part, I think this is going to be a little calmer of a stage, considering it's longer. We got quite a ways until we get to the end. What would you be doing right now, Big Al, if you had a little under 50 laps to go in this race? Would you be like, okay, it's time to calm down? Or would you say, hey, I got to get this one?
I need to have a good vantage point. I mean, that's what I need. I need to be the safest place for me, which I think is definitely further towards the rear. And then I'm going to start making moves on pit road. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking, because in my mind, there's going to be at least one more accident.
Yeah, we'll have to see about that. But I like the thought of kind of figuring out what pit road is going to be like. You know, go ahead and have the plan, right? Already have it kind of drawn up and drawn out. Have already talked to my teammates, figured out exactly, okay, this is when we're going to try to go down pit road. What we're going to do? We're going to take 2 tires. We're taking, just gas. What are we doing? You know what I mean? That's kind of, because you don't want to have that be a last-minute type decision.
Yeah, you definitely should have been talking about that on that last pit stop as you were looking at your tire life and degradation and saying, hey, man, when we come down, I mean, we're just putting a tank of gas in this thing. Are we taking rights or lefts? Sometimes the tendency leans towards taking left side tires because that'll help you get back onto the racing track faster going through the entry lane. And if you're if you're not burning tires, if it's equal, then I definitely think you're going to see some 2 tire stops.
Yeah, no, I think that's going to be the play here. I think under green flag conditions, under a green flag stop, I think left side probably would be the best decision you could make. Because like you said, it helps you get off of pit road, on the apron, onto the racetrack. That's the quickest way to do that. If you didn't take tires at all, you're going to be struggling getting back onto the racetrack. You could easily spin out trying to get back onto the racing surface on no tires. But once you get up to speed, the tire advantage kind of goes away. It doesn't really help you at all. But one thing I also want to mention too, Big Al, we talk about tires, but the fuel is as well as a concern. I mean, we got Paul Hill. He's in the front of this pack right now. He's also taking the longest way around the racetrack on this top line, that is causing him to burn more gas. He's going to have to spend more time in the box putting gas in that race car.
Yeah, indeed. But I think these guys knew or know what lane they want to run prior to coming in this thing, especially if they've turned any laps here at Daytona. Either you're going to favor the bottom or you're going to favor the high side. I mean, that's just the way it's going to go. So with that, I think all things considered, and they probably actually have some data now to help them make those decisions.
Of course, Paul Hill started further back in the pack. We'll see, he started actually in 19th position, so he's another one of the bigger movers. Of course, I do believe the biggest mover, though, at the moment is Abner Acosta. Now, Jose is almost tied with, I do believe, his brother. He started in 26th, so he's up in 6th. So a lot of big movers here at Daytona. And I think a lot of these guys are probably just trying to keep their heads down and survive this race.
Man, as I'm looking around, Brian, though, we are missing quite a few fellers that we usually see up front. You know, if you look around, you probably don't see them.
Yeah. One thing I'm surprised Derek Jacobs. Jacobs, who qualified in 5th, he's not in the draft. I don't even know what happened to the 27. Looking back at him, I mean, I want to put this in perspective for our audience at home. He's running 49.7 second laps right now. The leaders are hitting 46 second laps. That's 3 seconds difference. That shows you how just important that draft is. You have to have it. You have to have it. And that's going to be that's going to be important to consider when it comes to these green flag stops we're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, barring a caution, the next time he sees that lead pack is when they come up on him and swallow him up like a little guppy. And that's not a good feeling, man, especially when you see that horde coming behind you. And you pointed out the speed difference. I mean, once you're in that draft, even if you just lose the draft at the tail, I mean, it's just, you can feel them leaving you. It's like your soul leaves your body.
It's terrifying when they come up on you, too. And I like to always kind of an analogy I like to use for super speedway racing, like, you know, Daytona, is when you're off the back of the pack and you lose that draft. It's almost like you're in space, hanging off of you're tethered to the International Space Station. Your tether gets severed, and you just start drifting away. Like, you know, that's essentially what it's like. I mean, you're no man's land. You can't catch back up unless someone gets behind you and pushes you there. And so in a lot of ways, I'm terrified for Derek Jacobs, or I should say I don't envy him, as we see Jason Maines driving through the middle.
Yeah, they were definitely starting to heat up again. There were 4 cars that broke away, but this is weird. You don't usually see this just right smack dab in the middle of a run. We still got 40 laps to go before this thing is over, and I imagine about, half that before we're taking fuel.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see this 3-wide action this early. It will contact Randy Belk. Belk goes up into the wall a little bit there. Not a hard hit. Jason Maines moves down to the bottom, leaves Derek Heitman out to dry.
Yeah, that's the second time he's done that.
And that's why, and Derek's going to remember that. He's going to be like, oh, you left me high. I'm not going to push you anymore.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he really
it's selfish
did.
driving. It's just selfish driving. It really, and I'm Jason's probably going to be like, well, Brian, why did you say that? But, it is. It's just, you use that guy to get all the way up to the front, and you just ditch him. At least stick with him.
But Brian, it's his prerogative. He didn't pay that guy to push him. He didn't ask him to come with him. And Jason's been doing the same thing all night. We'll just call him middleman. Because that's what he goes through the middle and then he drops down in front. So, he's not going to stick with it. And that's one of the things I was saying earlier. You want to figure out who's committed to what lane.
Yeah. Well, and that you got to find a dancing partner that's going to stick with you. That's going to be the key here. And you want to have someone that's willing to stay with you. You don't want someone that's going to ditch you on the last lap. But I mean, of course, I know that a lot of times these team affiliations and things like that.
I don't know. We had
No, I think they're
whoops
just
up
getting
front.
out of the. That was voluntarily. I don't think they had. There was not an accident or anything that caused that. They just decided
to get out of the
draft. I'm not sure why they've done this.
Well, I think these guys are going to work together here, and then that is definitely going to go ahead and display their pit strategy as well. You know, they figure
Clayton
right now.
Hoffman did it as well. And Clayton's in the same channel with them. This is something that had voluntarily happened. They're moving on purpose to the back.
Yeah, like I think it's too racy up front too soon. You know what I mean? Get together, get a game plan, and then hopefully you'll be able to see this thing through the end.
Definitely really interesting that they chose to do that. But of course, Mark Sanchez, he's up. He was early this year, the first race at Daytona. He won at Daytona. Can he possibly get that thing to victory lane again? He definitely, wouldn't that be something to see him sweep the Daytona race?
Well, I just think it's a little bit too soon to be talking, but what I was saying to you earlier, it's like if you look up front, you don't see any of the names that we usually have up front. You know what I mean? It's like, where did those guys go?
Problems! Randy Belk turned up in front of some drivers. This is going to be a caution.
And that's the reason why they moved back.
And look at all the cars just all over the place. Randy Belk had moved down below the apron. I'm not sure why he moved down below the apron. He might have got pushed down there. He's being pushed by, who is that, Matthew Cisna? You see Belk, he's being pushed by Cisna. Nothing wrong with this. You see Cisna, another bump right there, and I think he just pushes him down below the apron.
I think he was kind of trying to get out of the way, Brian. I think he just didn't want to be pushed.
It led to a tremendous accident. Look at
Matthew Cisna, Alexander Carr, and Chris D. Johnson, all recipients of the dreaded repairs required flag.
I'd like it if we could look through the eyes of Cisna in this crash, because I just want to see how lined up was he with the bumper. Seems like, I mean, they were working pretty good together, it seems like. Seems like everything's okay, but so he touches him right here. I don't really see that as being Cisna's fault here. I think Belk turned down, because I mean Cisna doesn't seem like he seems like he's hitting Belk square.
Yeah, but I think the lead car's trying to get left of center. I think he was trying to get left of the double line. And he got hit right in the right rear quarter panel.
Yeah, I wonder if that was something that was communicated to the driver that was behind him. Because I mean, if I was in Belk's shoes and I was trying to get below the apron, I was like, "Hey, Cisna, back off a little bit. I'm going down below the apron." You know, like there must maybe a lack of communication. I'm not. That was an interesting crash.
What's the fuel window?
42 laps.
All right, so that's it. Everybody's coming down now, so there are no green flag pit stops.
A lot of cars involved in that one. That was a big one right there.
So let me ask you a question, because we're under caution. Now you take into consideration the move that Hoffman and company made to drop back. You talked about the list of names that were up front being names that, you know, we don't really associate with the impact leaders. You know, and then you have I say front of the pack mishap right there. Because that was the lead car of the bottom row. So when you put that sandwich together, I mean, it kind of makes itself.
He got some mustard on that sandwich.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
they put some mustard and hot sauce on that one. I mean, that was definitely a bad ordeal. I mean, I really don't know. That took out some good cars. That's for sure.
So what do you think of the decision that was made by those drivers to drop back? And where would you be?
Well, I mean, they might have made it. They might have made it in order to avoid something like that. But I mean, from what I saw, Clayton was having to drive through the grass to avoid that wreck. So, I mean, it wasn't like those guys were still. I mean, he looks fine.
Yeah, but if they would have been
I'm
up
just saying
front,
they were
Brian,
still in
been-
danger.
If they would have been up front, they would have been done. That's a whole.
true.
That's a different conversation.
Or they could have been in front of it because I mean they were leading and then dropped back to the back. So I mean it just really depends on who knows. I mean that the addition of their cars to that front area of the it could have changed the whole complexity of that crash. So I mean it's hard to play in what ifs, you know. But still, no, I think that they did probably make that play to avoid some sort of crash to maybe be in a safer place. But one thing I got to say about super speedway racing, though, Big Al, there is no safe place. There is no safe place.
But if you're in the back, you have a larger area to negotiate.
You also got to dodge more cars, though. I mean, there's pros and cons.
How many's behind you? If you don't have a whole lot behind you, you still. I know that's a star cluster, man. You have a lot more avenues of escape.
It just depends. I mean, it really just depends. I mean, how far in front of you the crash happens and how much time you have to react to it and how many cars are you having to dodge. I mean, some wrecks at tracks like this, it don't matter where you're going, you're getting in it.
So I already said that I would be in the back. What's your strategy here? Where are you riding at?
Front. I'm in the front.
So you're riding up front the whole time?
Well, I just feel like if I'm in the front, the only person I got to worry about is the guy that's behind me. And that's exactly what happened, in that last crash. The only person I have to worry about is the guy that's pushing me. I mean, because at least I don't have to worry about hitting somebody in front of me. But when you're in the back, you got to worry about the guy that's pushing the guy in front of you as well as everybody else that's in front of you. So, I mean, it's just like there's a lot more to watch. But, no, I get what you're saying. I understand it. I think it's really just a game of probability when you really think about it. Either way, you're not safe. Like, either way, you're rolling the dice even being in a super speedway race.
Yep.
And, of course, pace car lights have gone out. We're getting ready to go back green once again. Kendall LeVron out front. Randy Drumhiller, I do believe, up in the top 3 for the first time here tonight. Who is going to survive the end of this race? We're now, I do believe, in Big Al. Big Al has got it right now. We have had 2 cautions for cons.
Oh, that's
Kobe.
Yep,
You're right, Kobe. I am out, but you possibly could get it, Big Al. Great start for Mark Sanchez. Sanchez out of the rocket, being pushed by Abner Acosta.
The fact that we've been this racy and we've been 3 wide multiple times for cause, yeah, I think we got at least one more caution in us.
I think you're right. I think we got one more caution in us. As there we go, Nick King jumps to the bottom in front of Kendall LeBron. Of course, we talked about those guys. They're the Warrior Racing drivers, and I think they're possibly going to try to work together. We see Randy Mullins for the first time in the top 5. Wow, Randy's in the top 5. Oh, Nick King.
Nick King might have had a black flag.
Did he? Nick King coming to pit road.
Tim Whitman Jr. has a black flag. Nick King and Brian Johnson all had black flags.
Why did they have black flags, I wonder?
Might have been where they were trying to negotiate around the accident.
That's going to be a heartbreaker there for those drivers. John Bender up in the top 5 right now. He sits 4th behind Greg Carr. There goes Bender. Down to the bottom. No help, really, though. He's got to wait for Kendall LeBron to catch up.
Man, I'm sitting here watching this thing, and I'm going to tell you, for those folks that are at home that are watching the same thing I'm watching, you should be pretty pumped up right now because you're getting some of the most premium racing. These are some of the best drivers that are actually in simulation racing, that are, for this level. And, man, they're putting on a show for us for free here tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Look, 3 wide for us. 3 wide all the way up the middle. Look at this, guys.
This is about to be a crash.
Oh, man.
Kendall, I got to be honest, Kendall was not doing too well there. Not great at holding the line. Kendall was wiggling all over the place. almost came up into Paul Hill and Patrick Gitter. I'm glad Kendall was able to kind of straighten that back out because this is looking like this could devolve. Oh!
And this is what we talk about. This is what happens when you get guys up front that, not necessarily used to being up front. Bender getting totally left out to dry. He went from leading this thing to bleeding out.
And then Kendall jumps out from behind John Bender and scares Josh Schaffner, I'd say. Schaffner hits the outside wall.
And we still haven't defined what it is, but you do see that trio coming right now. There's Matt DeCiani. He's back up front. He's got Clayton Hoffman pushing him, and I do believe that would be Paul Hill right behind those guys. And then, look, there's Patrick Gitter. So now, we're reading the cast of characters, and it's like, oh, yeah, I know that guy. I know that guy. So I think they're going to go ahead and show you how the rest of the evening is going to play out. Because DeCiani had a super fast car. I mean, he hit that go, baby, go button, and he did just that. Mark Sanchez, though, no slouch. He is going to be up on that high line, and I know the G&G guys were kind of more fond of the high line, so I think he's probably going to be committed to be up there.
Well, the thing is about it, we just had guys having to do green flag stops to serve black flags. One driver, Brian Johnson, is getting ready to get caught by this pack, and he's going to go a lap down. This is going to be a little scary. He's trying to hug the wall as close as he can. Will they get by safely? It looks like so.
It's still in progress.
Yeah, it's definitely scary.
Sanchez, Abner is all over Sanchez, and I'm not sure if Sanchez is, I don't know if he's not feeling it, but right now something is off between his car and the rest of the draft.
Oof, Greg Carr gets into the rear end of Abner Acosta, or should I say, yeah, he does. He gets into the rear end a little bit there of the
Yeah, don't get
50.
nervous. Don't you be nervous. These guys,
I'm always getting nervous.
These guys know what they're doing.
Well, what's interesting, Kenny Powell, the driver that's got your face on his car, he's back into it. We do got to mention that, Greg and Kenny have sort of re-entered the competition in a lot of ways. They are on the lead lap.
The good thing about Kenny is he just had, that he broke that right front toe, but minor damage, got it back going. Nothing majorly cosmetic, so definitely still in it to win it. Now I know Greg.
I see. I think your picture's missing some teeth.
Oh yeah, we knew that. But I think Greg though he was shedding stuff like toilet paper off of his car. So I don't know what the end state is.
Yeah, I mean, shockingly, he said, "I'm wearing a what?"
You're wearing a kilt.
There's some big wiggling going on here for Abner Acosta. Abner just. Maybe, I don't know. It just seems, we also got to keep in mind that we got different makes and models of race cars. Oh, Derek Jacobs down into Josh Schaffner. This is going to be a caution. And Brian Johnson, unfortunately, unwittingly involved as Derek Jacob in the 27. One I was really rooting for, Jacobs. I mean, always been good at these super speedways. Just makes sometimes, I do believe, poor decisions. When it comes to, because we saw him earlier, had been outside of the draft. I think he's got the speed to be up front. I'm not sure exactly what happened here.
Josh Schaffner and Chris D. Johnson, you're the recipients of the repairs required flag. Come on down the pit road. Let's get you some.
Let's see exactly what happened here. Okay, so we see Derek. Oh, Derek got turned by Jose Medina. Down into the 50. So, yeah, I mean, that wasn't Jacobs' fault, but I think Jacobs could have been up front a lot more than this race. And unfortunately, big accident there, big damage going to be for the 27. And I root for this guy because, I mean, Jacobs is a good plate racer, very fast at these kind of tracks. Just unfortunate, I think he just found himself being pushed by the wrong guy. That's unfortunate because I even know. Our producer, good friends with Derek as well, and then just it's unfortunate when you see, I want to see him succeed. And it is unfortunate.
Well, it looks like his car is fixed.
Well,
as well as Brian Johnson's.
Maybe the black flag is cleared, but I mean damage. I'm shocked that these cars are doing as well as they are with damage.
Josh Schaffner's the only one with repairs required right now.
These cars are pretty hardy, surprisingly. When you have accidents at 200 miles an hour, usually it's not good. But, of course, looks like we're under caution. We're going to take one step away, or take a step away. We'll pay some attention to our sponsors. We'll be right back.
I used to have to go in to the auto parts store. Paid too much, never find quite what I'm looking for. Now I just go online to Rock Auto and see all the parts my car will ever need. Lower prices, more parts, more brands. It's so easy to find the right parts fast. All the parts your car will ever need. Rock Auto. All the parts your car will ever need. RockAuto.com.
You served and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service interests and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. We definitely appreciate you joining us here tonight. If you're just joining us, we've seen, I do believe, 3 accidents. And that, of course, I do believe puts it in Kobe, our producer's court here, considering we're kind of always
negative. It's my court.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mine. Okay, yeah. Okay, it's Big Al. Do apologize. Every week we do this thing where we do an over and under on cautions. We all guess how many cautions we're going to see in the race, and of course, Big Al at the moment it is him. But I got to be honest, Big Al, I think we're going to have another one. I think all 3 of us are going to be wrong.
Then I'll be closest without going over.
That's fine. Yep, totally cool with that. I mean, you'll be the first loser. But here we go into the Geico restart song. Green flag is back out. Matt DeCiani and Patrick Gitter, what a good start there for them as they jump down in front of Clayton Hoffman. And I think Clayton, in a lot of ways, is working with the Team Conti guys. They're in the same channel.
Think?
It does seem that way. And
yes, of course he is. We talked about that. You gotta have a dance partner here. As the 28 gets a little taggy with the 24, but they have since disengaged from each other.
You can see kind of a 4-car breakaway. We'll see how long that lasts. We see just kind of an accordion going on throughout this pack.
Let's look towards the back of the pack right here so you can see exactly what's going on back there. Because I'm telling you, it's a different race say from 8th back than it is from.
And this is why, Big Al, I was talking about I'd rather be up front. Because, being in this right here, it's like you're seeing all this accordion effect. I mean, it's so easy for something to just go wrong. I mean, when you're in front, I mean, if you're in Matt Nisiani's shoes, you're in Patrick Gitter's shoes, you're in Clayton Hoffman's shoes, you're just worried about the guy that's pushing you. Oh, Derek Heitman jumps down in front of Greg Wyszynski. That was scary.
Yeah,
they're going to wreck. They're getting ready to wreck. Somehow they kept it together.
I'm watching the 54 push Bender, which has ended terribly once before. Then I'm watching the 76, who's really he's been a middle runner, with his buddy Mr. Maines. But that's just kind of trying to trick you right now.
This is terrifying. We're getting ready to crash. This is looking like the powder keg situation. I don't see how they've kept it together so far. I mean, everyone is so wiggly. No one seems comfortable.
Yeah, this is like, I don't know how many snakes we got down there, but there's more than one.
It feels like there's snakes in their guys' cars, so where they're like, oh, I got to watch out, and they're moving the wheel all around. They're scared. There must be a bug in their car. They're trying to swat it. Here comes Mark Sanchez, though, being pushed by Derek Heitman. Oh, Sanchez pushed down below the yellow.
He's got to stay down there.
He comes back on the racetrack.
Once you come back over that Geico sign. But good job on Mark Sanchez keeping that thing pointed in the right direction.
He's going to lose the draft, though, I do believe.
Yeah, but he kept his butt. So I think, he lives to fight another day. We're going to have another caution. There it is right there, folks. Big Al called it into fruition for you. The 3 of Nick King gets totally smacked and tomahawked, and he just goes through the field like I don't know, man. That was like a poodle passing chocolate. How about that?
Taking a look back at this, it definitely involved Abner Acosta and Nick King. Two similarly colored cars, almost kind of a gold, pink, yellow-ish paints for both of those drivers to see exactly what happened. It's a big checkup. Oh, yeah, big checkup. John Bender gets into the back end of the 3, sends him down into Abner. So, and this is kind of another of the dangers. I mean, just the difference in momentum that when one driver checks up, and if somebody just doesn't get that memo, we end up with problems. I mean, and clearly, Nick was just checking up for the guys ahead of him because they were checking up, and the guy behind Nick doesn't check up and hits him.
The guy behind Nick did not get the memo, but you know who got the memo? Nick King. Come on down the pit road, buddy, because you done got that repairs required flag. Josh Softner got a big old black flag, but his don't have a meatball in it, so not sure what that's about, but he's been a bad boy, so he'll be coming down pit road as well.
And, of course, now that makes all 3 of us wrong. I mean, I really thought this was going to be a cleaner race, just considering the A Opens they've been people talking about, they went 100% green. And I always, the ISCA is cleaner than the officials. It usually always is. But it just seems like something about Daytona.
The difference is for this Daytona race, you've got 3 separate races in one. So you got 3 opportunities of people, literally duking it out like it's the last lap. And then when you get on the long run, which is where we're at right now, I think we still are owed another caution here before this thing's over.
Yeah, no, I think we're going to have another one. And this next one's probably going to be even worse. This next one's probably going to be the big one to where we see some careers ended. Or what I mean is races ended.
Yeah. But, hey, aren't we having fun, though? I mean, we got all these guys here under the lights. And, by the way, the lights were actually installed at Daytona International Speedway in 1998. Little trivia for you.
That's definitely interesting. I do believe, about 7 years old.
Oh, wow, really?
Yep. I was born in 91, so.
Oh, golly gee. I was...
So, yep. Because you had asked me during the commercial break. You had asked me during the commercial break. He was like, "Do you remember when this racetrack didn't have lights?" And I'm like, "Not really."
Yeah, I guess at 7 you probably wouldn't have any recollection of night races at Daytona.
Yeah, I really wasn't aware. To be honest with you, I mean, my dad was a huge NASCAR fan, and we watched NASCAR for sure. But I mean, I was 7. Yeah, nah, I don't remember. Like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, Daytona no lights. I remember when I was 7 watching it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty big deal when I actually installed lights around this bad boy.
And you said something that I think is crazy. You said this place has enough lights to light a street from Chicago to Florida or something.
Yes, that's if my memory serves me correct, it's similar to Chicago. That's the amount of lights that they installed on this track will light a single street.
That's insane. That's unbelievable, to be honest with you. It's hard. I have a hard time believing it. But I mean, this place does have to be well lit. I mean, considering these guys are going around this place at 200 mile an hour, bumper to bumper, you know. And I'm just glad the fog's gone. I'll tell you that right now. That fog when we started
was burned off.
And here we go.
I'm telling you, the lights are off on the pace car. We're doubled up again. Front row's starting to look like home. I mean, we're still seeing all of the major players up there, which is a good thing. That's just going to guarantee us more excitement as this thing unwinds. But Brian,
yeah,
they're going to be rolling up the middle here sooner than later.
Oh, I mean, they've already been doing it. So I mean, it's not. Yes, it's bound to happen. It's going to happen. It's guaranteed. One thing I think is interesting, Matt, at the beginning of the broadcast, or I should say at the end of stage 1, was like, oh, man, they took out my teammate, Derek Heitman. Well, guess who's back? Derek Heitman is back. I mean, the guy seems like he's gotten the race car all fixed and sorted. He's back in the contest. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of Team Conti guys up here, and they were very confident coming into tonight, and clearly they have every reason to be confident. I mean, considering right now I do believe they're inhabiting the 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 6th place position, and I guess you can count Frank 8th as well. Yeah, so, there's a lot of people that are Team Conti right now.
I was going to tell DeCiani, though, about the time that he made that comment, the car was repaired before I think you were halfway with his interview.
Yeah, now they're back together. So, I mean, they still are very much capable of getting a good finish out of that 76.
Yeah, he didn't even lose a lap, is what I'm saying, so he was good to go.
No, he did. He did lose a lap. I saw him get a wave around earlier in the race, but he clearly back in the contest. But yeah, so glad to see him back in it. Pace car now down pit road. Green flag is back out as Matt DeCiani up through the gears. Patrick Gitter gets going as well at around the same time. And one thing we talked about earlier about, teammates and things like that dissolves in a lot of ways at the end of this race. When does it dissolve? Does it dissolve for the Team Conti drivers?
I don't think it is probably written, but I think they know exactly, given what situation, who's going to get the win. Yeah, in life, some guys are pushers and some guys are pushers and some guys are takers,
I mean, when the white flag's waving, you're coming out of turn 4 and you have an opportunity to win the race. Even if it's your teammate in front of you, do you take that opportunity? I mean, these wins are hard to come by. They really are. I mean, the ISCA is not an easy series to win in, as we now have 15 laps to go. Team Conti firmly in control. We see the bottom line, though, starting to surge ahead. Greg Carr working with John Bender. You see Jose Medina, as well as Randy Belt. Man, they're getting a good run.
Yeah, watch that 28 car because he is bumping the 44 Drumhiller. Drumhiller's already been squirrely just a couple of times. I watched Kenny Powell kind of back out of it just so he wouldn't get caught up.
A lot of squirrely race cars out here. I mean, and a lot of times, a lot of these guys have damage. Even though they're still fast, they have damage. And that damage might not hurt their speed, but it can hurt their handling. And it also hurts the aerodynamics. So if you're behind someone or being pushed by someone and or if they're not in cleaner air, the car's not going to handle as good. So even though they're fast, clearly, they're not. They could get squirrely.
Powell just got into Paul Olsen. Those two are around there, caused a big wreck right there. Kenny kind of came up onto the back of, I believe, Kendall LeVon, and just kind of like popped on the inside to try to get a little bit of breathing room.
Taking a look at this here to see exactly what happened. See, as you mentioned, Paul Olsen and Kenny Powell on our screen. It looks like Kenny tried to come down to maybe to go in the middle 3 wide under Kendall.
And then Greg just hammers Kenny. Then Greg gets hammered. Oh, it's just been a little bit of an interesting evening.
Yeah, let's take another look if we can. Let's look at through Kenny Powell's eyes. If we can here, because he's of course following Kendall. I think Kenny was going to try to take it 3 wide. I think he gets a run, and he thinks he's going to go. Yep, he was going to go in the middle 3 wide, and unfortunately, the door closed. I mean, really. Getting close to the end of the race, and I think Kenny just was trying to take an advantage. He was trying to move up through the field. I mean, so you really can't blame him when you're coming up. Now, less than 15 to go, you really want to try to make these moves and get in position. You talked about it, Big Al. You can't win this race on 1 lap, right? And that's what Kenny, I think, was thinking. He's like, I got to get up there. I got to go up there.
Yeah, and we talk about this, too. You're going to hear a lot of guys. We say it all the time. Guys try to put themselves in a position to win. But when you're actually sitting back where we're sitting, and sometimes where the spotters are sitting in the crew chiefs, you just want the guy to put himself in a position to be available at the end of the race. Because if you're not there, then what difference does it make? You know what I mean? So you want him to be available on the last lap to win the thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you got to be alive at the end of these races to be able to win them. That's for sure. And sometimes, making those kind of moves or trying to, go in the middle 3 wide. I mean, I'm not blaming Kenny. I think Kenny, I would have probably done the same thing, and just the door closed, and it was unfortunate to say. So I'm not trying to pick on Kenny at all, but yeah, sometimes making those moves, you want to wait until maybe it's 5 to go or something like that. But you got to get up front. I get it, but you also, like you said, you have to be alive and available at the end of this race. But of course, there are a number of drivers that have now gone a lap down. Brian Johnson's 1 lap down now. He's in 24. Derek Jacobs, he's out of the race. Started in 5th. That is a heartbreaker for that driver. Alexander Carr, who was he's I do believe on that points bubble, depending on how this race goes, could maybe be on the outside looking in. I'm not sure. He's 9 laps down. Josh Schaffner, he's now 12 laps down. Till Moorman Jr., he's out of the race. Chris Johnson started in 2nd. He's now 25 laps down. Go ahead.
None of those guys, incident.
Sorry, you broke up there, Big Al. What'd you say?
None of those guys that were involved in the last incident received repairs required.
That's definitely interesting.
Yeah, because I was sitting here thinking, like, man, maybe my panel's busted. Because I'm still showing Schaffner with the black flag, but then I look over and Schaffner's on pit road. So yeah, that's a true statement.
Laps down.
Yeah, I'm assuming his flag's gonna go. He's gonna smoke that engine if he hadn't got it turned off.
Yeah, I think maybe some of these guys just frustrated that the race is not going well. I mean, this is a kind of a caution-filled race compared to other races we've seen. I mean, we've seen in the ISCA time and time again races run without caution or with just 1 or 2. And this race has had, 5?
Yeah, can I say something?
What's that?
I'm going to go ahead and make a bold, unprecedented statement and say I think we still got room for 1 more caution.
No, I definitely think you're right. I think we're going to have another one. I mean, the more we have, it's like cautions breed cautions. I mean, it's an old adage of NASCAR that you hear all the time, and it's because it's true. You don't hear these things because they're just cool to say. You hear them because they're true. We're going to have probably another caution. These guys want to win this race. There are drivers that are in the top 10 that have not won a race in the ISCA. And you got drivers like Frank Flores, Greg Carr, John Bender, have not won a race in this series. And I bet you they want to do it. Because, you know, winning a race in this series, you know, at Daytona, that could set you up momentum-wise to have a little bit more confidence.
Yeah,
and,
you know,
maybe, yeah.
I feel like there's been a lot of drivers that have actually gotten their first and only wins at Daytona. You know what I mean? It's just one of those kind of tracks. So it does lend itself. And that's what I was saying. You might not see the big names up front of this because anyone actually can be a winner at Daytona. You just have to put yourself in the right spot.
And there it is. Green flag is back out. Matt DeCiani up through the gears with Paul Hill right there behind him. DeCiani moves up to the top to kind of draft with the 76 of Derek Heitman. Heitman gets a good run. Top lane looking like they have the speed right now. Of course, Paul Hill working with Patrick Gitter. So it looks like the Team Conti guys have kind of split it up a little bit. I think they're trying to race each other with 10 to go. Frank Flores getting a good bit of draft up to the drivers of the 26 and the 21.
All right, well, 10 laps to go.
Slow.
Yeah, well, 10 laps to go, it is go time. So right now, it's time to start making moves and alliances, Brian, because number one, you gotta try to get up front if you're gonna want to be up front. I'm watching Gitter push the car in front of him, man, and I'm just telling you, he's giving old boy everything he's got to hold on. Heitman has his hands full. Wait, that's not Heitman.
That's Paul Hill.
That's Hill. Paul Hill.
No, he's giving us some great pushes. You gotta wonder about what his temperatures are looking like. And I think these guys are gonna probably push the limits when it comes to the temperature gauge.
Well, I'm telling you, I don't know. Let's get sporty back here. Here comes Jose Acosta. He's gonna try to shoot the middle.
Oh, whoa, Jose.
Has brother coming.
Oh, problems. Jose out to the outside wall.
Oh, man.
His car.
Eyeballs.
That was a hard hit. Jose Acosta probably going to be out of this race after that. That was a smash and a half.
Serious? He's going to be out of the race. He's going to be out of he ain't going to be out of the hospital. Kendall LeBron, Jose Acosta, Jose Medina, Josh Schaffner's cooked his engine, Chris D. Johnson, all get that dreaded repairs required.
That was the dominoes falling right there. I mean, Kendall gets into the back of Medina. Let's take a look at this again. You'll see, of course, Jose drives his way by Kendall. Barely had enough room. You see, Kendall gets into the rear of Jose Medina. And then Medina comes down, tags the 42, sends him up into the outside wall. So that was really a domino thing there. Yeah, he's done. You got to see.
That's a bad wreck right there. That boy had himself a bad day.
Yep. Man, what a wreck.
He's going to need a whole buttload of Snickers to try to make that one go away because that's a boo-boo.
He's going to need some big old Band-Aids, that's for sure. Mama ain't going to be able to kiss that one away. I mean, this has been a rough race for these drivers, and I'll tell you what, though. I'm excited about next week, Big Al. We're going to my home track, Darlington Raceway.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you definitely won't see what we're doing here duplicated there. That's for certain. It will not be pretty wild.
You might see some of the consequences of some of the actions done here played out there. You know, maybe, I mean, because that's a track you could definitely push someone out of the way, wreck them. The track too tough to tame. It's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Hey.
I'm actually going to try to do some racing myself there at Darlington and try to see if I can get good at my home track. Because, I mean, I feel somewhat unfortunate that I have that as my home track. Not to say I love going to watch races at Darlington, but for being an iRacer, a sim racer, you want to be able to win at your home track, right?
Absolutely.
Very difficult for me to do that at Darlington because that is not one you're going to look into a win. But Talladega, I know that's kind of one of your home tracks. Also, what Charlotte would be a home track for you too, somewhat. I mean, you're from
Talladega. Yeah, we got Talladega. You could say Nashville. You know, and I'm from Wilmington, so.
That's what I was saying. With North Carolina, you could say Charlotte, I guess, or North Wilkesboro or something like that.
Yeah. Charlotte's still about, what,
You got a lot of
5 hours
options.
from the coast? Yeah, and I'm a chameleon, you know. I just like everything that is winning.
Well, I'll tell you what, both of us aren't winning. Our drivers have our faces on us. I think they should not have put our faces on their car. It's funny to us up here in the booth, but I don't know if it was good luck for them.
What are you saying, they were going to wreck anyway? That's just mean, Brian.
No, what I'm trying to say is all the drivers that are down there on this racetrack, they hear me talk junk about them all week long or every week, and now they're seeing my face. And they're like,
do I talk junk?
Wreck him. I'd say you do, but you wouldn't say that. But here we go. Pace car lights getting ready to go out. It's going to be a 5-lap shootout here. Next caution we have, I think, is going to lead to a green-white checkered. If we have another caution, and I want to say we will.
Yeah, we're going to have another caution. It's Daytona, baby. I mean, come on. Everybody on your feet. This is getting ready to get intense right here, and I'm going to tell you who's going to kick it off. Got none other than Paul Hill and Matt DeCiani side by side. You know, it's going to be about the launch because right now, it's going to be 5 to go, so you got to start making moves. At 5 to go, you've got your strategy lined out, you've got your partner picked, and you're just trying to shoot the gap wherever it's going to be.
And that shooting the gap, that's what's going to cause that caution, as these guys trying to go through the middle 3 wide or take that top side 3 wide. That's one thing I'm surprised I haven't seen a whole lot of is guys making use of that third groove up at the top. And, of course, we've seen guys run up towards the wall. But, I mean, I know when I was watching the officials, it seemed like that top line, people were using that to pass more. But for tonight, we've seen people go through the middle. That seems to be the go-to for making kind of crazy moves.
I think they haven't been bringing that high line down as much as they need to get the side draft as well as to keep those guys tight. So they're leaving the middle essentially wide open. And if you got a gap big enough to put a car in it, then you're not going to have any benefit of the side draft, and they're too far off the wall for a wall draft. So, yeah, they're just kind of – it's been a difficult, interesting situation.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that these guys are protecting the outside more in this race, it seems to be. Here we go, pace car. Going to be taking a left down pit road. That's Paul Hill set to get this thing underway. We enter the Geico restart zone, and the green flag is back out in the air. 5 laps to go at Daytona. Big run on the high side. Clayton Hoffman pushing Derek Heitman. Derek Heitman pushing Matt DeCiani. Patrick Gitter moves up to the top. Frank Flores stays on the bottom. He's going to try to stick with Paul Hill, maybe to inject some speed into the back of that 26. Big run from Greg Carr.
Surprised that the 21 Gitter actually kind of lost the draft right there, but here we go. We are 3 wide for the ride. Right here in the back. This is where it's going to go down. Jason Mings right there in the middle.
That's right. We see Paul Hill. He jumps. Now, no contact with Hill and Drumhiller.
Man, Hill just went caution up there. I don't know, man, if he dropped a cigarette or what, but that was a risque move.
I don't know. He definitely, I don't think he knew Drumhiller was up there.
Well, he just swerved all over the road, man. The pace car going to be behind him if you keep driving like that with the lights on.
Get pulled over. Surprised that they didn't pull him over right there.
Can't be swerving like that.
Drumhiller, big move. to the inside.
Ooh, getting
Frank
sporty
Flores
back here again.
thinking about going with him.
Well, he's out there by himself right now, waiting on Johnson to try to get to him. But that just goes to show you what's happening here. 4 to go, and we are single file.
Yeah, this is crazy. I'm surprised we're single file. Like, I think a lot of these guys, it's going to break out any time now. Here comes Sanchez.
That was Sanchez didn't mean to be where he's at, Brian. He actually got into a skirmish with the car in front of him. That's kind of why he ended up in the middle.
And he's going to be able to. It's going to work out for him though, because I mean he's right behind Pasalacqua. Now they're starting to get that middle lane groove moving. Randy Belk though beating with Randy Drumhiller. The battle of the Randys. These guys are punching each other essentially.
Yeah, 3 to go. There's your caution right there, ladies and gentlemen.
There it is. Sanchez around.
What's got that dirty Sanchez? And Sanchez straightens it out there. And and then he takes a bite out of Kenny's hide. Yeah, gotta love it.
Come on. I bet Kenny's probably so mad right now.
He just ran up there and just slapped the crap out of Kenny right there. It's like everybody's just punching Big Al, you know what I mean? Get no respect, I tell you.
See Sanchez, nothing he could have did here. Abner just comes down and swipes him in his rear end.
But watch the recovery, Brian.
Yeah, he recovered it and then into his teammate.
I mean, he does a pirouette.
It's a 360 right there.
Almost a 720. He did a.
Kenny, well, ooey. Hey, just take that bumper back on.
Look, that was Randy Drumhiller that hit him, and then he got hit again by Sanchez.
Man, you feel so bad for Kenny. I feel so bad for a lot of these guys, man.
Kenny Powell, the new Rodney Dangerfield, I tell you, he can't get no respect.
Oh, man.
This is smacked down by everybody. Kenny Powell, Jose Acosta. Kenny Powell's a new entry there to the dreaded repairs required flag. Derek, Kendall Levon, Matthew Cisna, Tim Wortman Jr. all have already checked out. Saw those guys sitting in casual clothes up there to start finish line.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we're getting ready to see some more drivers follow a lap down. We're at, so far, 21 drivers still on the lead lap. I think that number's getting ready to decrease drastically.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. Can I say it?
Sure.
I think we got room for one more caution.
I do want to say we only have the potential for one green-white checkered. So we can technically only see one more caution.
And I think we can get that one in here.
I think we definitely can. I mean, can we make the white flag is the question.
Make the white flag do what?
White flag. And if we take the white flag, then they'll race it out. But if we don't make that white flag, we see a caution at the start.
What are we trying to make the white flag do?
To see if we can finish this race under green. This is a green-white checkered.
Which means the next flag ends it.
No matter what it is, really.
Yeah, I do believe we're in overtime.
We are. We're on lap 100. Coming to lap 101.
And we only get one overtime here in the ISCA. Yep. So
100%. So far, Matt DeCiani, he's been really the dominant driver, I'd say. He seems to have that setup really worked out. Derek Heitman, of course, he's been really good at pushing the one. If they can get lined up together, I think that they might have this here.
Yeah, man, I don't know because, I mean, there's some hitters out there. I mean, if this is Daytona too, and this is the race for the cash, the dash for the cash, the playoff points, the whole caboodle, I mean, right here just in spitting distance, you got Gitter, you got Hoffman, you got DeCiani, you got Heitman, Asalakwa right there as well. I mean, you understand what I'm saying?
Well, what's crazy is the picture is looking a lot more like what we'd seen in a normal race, which is interesting to say. I mean, we were talking about we're seeing some unfamiliar faces up in the top front, but now DeCiani, Heitman, Clayton Hoffman, these guys they're normally up front.
But these guys are going to race each other with a little bit, different set of gloves on. They're not going to just go out there and totally trash each other. However, you got those guys from the back, and with the right run, son, it could be not fun.
That's true. I mean, we do have some unknowns. I mean, I say for the front, I mean, John Binder, I should say, he's up here as well. Let's see what he's able to do. I think I got that. I'm always getting Bender.
This Bender.
Yes, Bender. That's right. Randy.
I don't know. Maybe
Randy Mullins. Wow, Randy Mullins. He's in the top 5.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, it's on his car. I gotta say it. I got my name on 2 race cars. I don't know.
I mean, yeah. I don't know if anybody can put my name on that car again because Ragdoll Kenny down there.
Base car down pit road as here we go. Into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out. Clayton Hoffman, big bump to the back end of the 1, trying to get him up to speed.
Oh, that was a shove right there. And the 54 Mullins goes the same. He goes up high to get behind the 76 of Heitman. These guys already letting us know where their alliances lay. Big run coming from the back, though. Here comes Gitter. He's getting shoved by Bender. They're going to join up to the top. Oh. Bender gets high. Sorry.
That was a hit there.
Right now.
This is going to devolve. High.
DeCiani's trying to figure out which way he's going to go.
Oh.
There it is, folks. That's going to end it. 2 to go.
No caution yet.
Not out. Caution's out.
Now it is.
And car's still getting tore up down there.
And I'm not sure who is the winner. DeCiani could have been. Who was out front first? Randy Mullins.
DeCiani.
I don't know. I don't think so. Randy Mullins had taken a lead for a moment, and I think he took a lead at the right moment.
Randy Mullins is who they're showing.
He took the lead at just the right moment, and he will win this race just because of how that timing worked.
Randy Pasalakwa, Greg Carr, Randy Drumhiller.
Let's look back at that crash.
Jason Maines. All newly added will not make it home on their own powers.
Going to take a look back at this crash. And, of course, I know Derek Heitman, kind of, I think, the focal point in a lot of ways in this incident. See Heitman get shoved out of the groove down the racetrack. And I see right here, I think he gets tagged a little bit by
Bender. Absolutely. And Bender comes back on the inside to finish him off. But then the calamity actually occurs behind those guys. That's when everything starts going to crap.
Whoa. Yeah, that's when we see the Randy Drumhiller. I think that's why. What is kind of after the fact. So Bender saves it. Jason Maines comes down the racetrack, takes Pasalakwa. And this is just a mess. You see Carr comes back up the track, hits Randy Drumhiller. I mean, this is almost the entire field involved in that crash. But of course, let's go down the final running order as the checkered flag has waved. As Randy Drumhiller, the caution came out at just the absolute right time. He had just taken the lead. He will win. Wow, Randy Drumhiller, he won. Mullins, I'm sorry. Randy Mullins. I appreciate your correction there. Matt DeCiani finishes in second place. Patrick Gitter in third. I can't even get the man's name right. I'm sorry, Randy Mullins. Paul Hill in fourth. Frank Flores in fifth. John Bender in sixth place. Randy Belk in seventh. Andrew Griesbaum finishes in eighth. Clayton Hoffman finishes ninth. Brandon Pasalacqua 10th. Paul Olson in 11th. Jason Maines finishes in 12th. Kenny Powell, he's 13th. Abner Acosta 14th. And Mark Sanchez finishes 15th.
Greg Wachinski is going to be coming in at 16th with Derek Heitman 17th. Brian Johnson 18th. Greg Carr 19th. And Nick King going to round out the top 20. 21st is going to show Randy Dremhiller. 22nd, Jose Medina. Alexander Carr in 23rd. Kellen O'Ron in 24th. Jose Acosta 25th. Derek Jacobs 26th. Josh Schaffner 27th. Tim Wortman Jr. is going to be in 28th. Chris Johnson 29th. And Matthew Sisson is going to round out that 30-car field.
All righty, and with that, we're going to go ahead and take a step away. We'll pay some more attention to our sponsors. We'll come right back, and we'll talk to our top three finishers.
I used to have to go in to the auto parts store. Pay too much, never find quite what I'm looking for. Now I just go online to Rock Auto and see all the parts my car will ever need. Lower prices, more parts, more brands. It's so easy to find the right parts fast. All the parts your car will ever need. Rock Auto. All the parts your car will ever need. RockAuto.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA, of course, Super Cup Series. I lost my train of thought there for a second, but man, what a race we witnessed here tonight at Daytona. It has been crazy. It has been a crazy 250 miles, but it is now completed. And we have, of course, our top three finishers going to be joining us up here in the booth. We're going to start with, of course, third place, Patrick Gitter. Patrick, Do you read me?
10-4, I got you, Brian.
What a race, Patrick. What was it like from your perspective? I just asked that.
Man, it was a wild race. It was, big runs. You had to know who to partner with. You had to know who to push. You had to know who had a good car, who didn't. You had to know who was well versed at super speedway racing, and who wasn't. And I think a lot of that was evident tonight. Just kind of seeing how runs played out and when the top and bottom was working and who was leading it. So a lot of definitely awareness kind of came into the race, and man, it was a lot of back and forth, and I think that the last few laps really showed a lot of that.
Well, what was interesting to me is I kind of assumed this race was going to be a lot cleaner and greener than it really was. I mean, in the A Opens, tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, I've seen a lot of clean racing in the A Opens.
No, I agree. I'm not sure what it was about the race tonight, but I mean, it was just I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's guys that just don't know how big the runs are, they don't make a decision in time or what, but I think it was some of that, and then just I don't know if it was, honestly, I just don't know. I think it's just super speedway racing there's so many decisions you have to make on a split second that I just think that came into play tonight more than we've seen in some races recently, where the runs aren't as big, they aren't as strong, and you have a little bit more time to think about where the car in front of you is going to be in, a few hundred feet.
Well, I know in the past it seemed like these next-gen cars, it was a lot easier to lose the draft, and the runs weren't as big. Has there been a change or something to the aero feeling in these cars at these super speedways?
I don't think it's been a major change. I mean, I think there's a certain art of pushing and side drafting and things like that has developed in the past year or so, and I think there's certain areas of the car that are much more susceptible to proper pushing or side drafting compared to others. So maybe that had a part to play in that. And that's just been in the past year or so, I think. So I think it's just a matter of, have guys figured that out yet? And if not, I mean, it becomes apparent pretty quick once you get somebody that's really taking advantage of that.
Well, either way, I appreciate you letting me pick your brain about some of these things. Really good run for you, solid points day. Are you happy with it?
I mean, I feel like I had a pretty good shot at winning that race right there. I mean, I got my bumper beat off 2 car lengths before we even got to the restart zone on that last restart, so I had to check up so I didn't give Derek a black flag. And then, I mean, same guy hooked Derek twice down the backstretch, so didn't really have a shot to win it there at the end. But I mean, all the guys up front had strong cars, so I mean, I think any of those guys had a good shot at it. So I mean, I feel like we could have had the win if we were in the right position, but that's super speedway racing. It's just you can have the best car, but it's just a matter of who you get around you, and whether you've drawn the right cards or not.
Well, either way, good points day. Next week is Darlington. Do you have that one circled?
Yeah, I've always liked Darlington. That's a fun track for me. I've always enjoyed it. Challenging track, obviously, but it's one that I always look forward to and enjoy. So I think that'll be a good race next week, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Patrick. Well, who can we shout out after your third place finish?
Yeah, man, definitely Team Conti, Sim Performance. They gave us a fantastic set this week. Seminary Designs, Martin PC, definitely my teammates. Matt, he ran a fantastic race, was right there. Just, I think he lost by a bumper to Randy. Randy ran a fantastic race too, so I gotta shout him out for the win. And all our teammates. I mean, teammates ran great all race. Frank Flores had a really good showing tonight. So just appreciate those guys and enjoy running with them. And then thanks for you guys in the booth.
All right, thanks, Patrick. We'll see you next week.
Yep, appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Alrighty, that was Patrick Gitter, driver of the 21. Next up is his teammate Matt DeCiani, standing by with Big Al.
Hey, Matt DeCiani, Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man, congratulations. Strong showing for you tonight. Got yourself a stage win, and you came home P2 overall, so looks like that's going to be pretty healthy for you as far as playoff points.
Yeah, I guess. Kind of disappointed. Felt like I was in position to win that race, and things just didn't work out. I mean, if that yellow comes out, I don't even know, a quarter of a second later, I win that race. But it's just part of it, and you know. But good job to Randy. I think that might be his first win in this league, so congrats to him.
I don't think so. I think he's got another win in there. But man, you guys came and you really looked like you had a solid plan. How did that caution right there before the long run? How did that affect you guys, if at all? Because there was 36 laps remaining on that one.
We had a long run in stage 3. I felt like we were under yellow the entire time.
Yeah, exactly. We were hoping it would have been a long run. Was your strategy more geared towards that longer run?
Oh yeah, we were gonna pit real early in that stage, and things just didn't work out. We were actually planning to come the lap the wreck happened, and yeah, so kind of altered our strategy, but we just did what we needed to do to get back to the front, and we controlled the race for the most part. Just with the shuffling and all these restarts and people running in the back before the zone, just kind of threw everything haywire.
Sounds like you're a little frustrated. I mean, was it pretty intense down there on the racing surface?
I wouldn't say it was intense. I'm not really frustrated. Just it was so close. You know, ran up front pretty much the majority of the race, and just stinks. Would have liked those 5 playoff points, but you know, it is what it is, and we'll move on.
Roger that. Speaking of moving on, next week we're headed to the Lady in Black. We're headed to Darlington. How does that rate on your list of favorites?
I typically like Darlington. It's one of my, I guess it's more of a driver's track, so I'd put that up there as one of my more favorite tracks. I don't know, but lately, just with this oval refresh, Darlington's been very, very like strange. So we'll see what happens this time around. But yeah, I'm not really focused on Darlington. I'm more ahead looking forward to playoffs.
Oh, Roger that. Playoffs. Yeah, man, good luck to you there in the playoffs. So, who are you shouting out tonight for your second place finish overall?
Yeah, thanks for you guys for calling the race. Kenny for putting on the league. My teammates, Pat, Derek, Paul, Randy, unofficial teammate for this race, Clayton. I probably forgot someone. Team Conti, Martin PC. And yeah, congrats again, Randy, on the win.
All right, boss. Like I say, don't party too hard. We'll see you next week.
All right, thanks, guys.
Alrighty, that was Matt DeCiani, driver of the One Machine, just barely missing out on that first place position, just with the timing of a caution. Of course, we're going to talk to the beneficiary of that caution, considering, I mean, of course, Randy worked his way up into the lead, so we can't really say, oh, it's all down to that caution. It would have been awesome to see that one raced out to the end, though. Randy, do you read me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Randy Mullins up in the booth. You started in 25th place, and I think that makes you the biggest mover of the evening. And you're able to finish P1. Why didn't you qualify?
Just wanted to stay out of it. Usually ISCA is real clean, but super speedway racing is always something different. It's always wild. There's always crazy factors. The slightest little bump can wreck you. So I just didn't want to be in the middle of it, and didn't think I could sit on the front row, so I just started in the back.
Well, that's definitely interesting. It seems like it worked out for you. I mean, did you miss a lot of the wrecks? Because, I mean, I know there were a lot of them, and it seemed like everybody had gotten involved in something at least a couple times. But, you know, didn't really see you involved in a lot of them.
I got a few bumps here and there, but nothing major. So I got lucky. This was a little chaotic for this league, in my opinion. So I got lucky by missing them. Usually this league's pretty clean, but it's super speedway racing. What do you expect, you know?
For sure. And, you know, I had to say, wow, Randy's in the top 5 just to read off that front, you know, hood a little bit. But, man, great job for you. I'm sure the sponsors are really, really happy with your performance here tonight. Like, how did you prepare for this race? I mean, how did the Paradigm group prepare? Because it seemed like you guys brought very good qualifying as well. Because I mean, we saw the Johnson brothers start 1-2.
Well, you just got to put in the time. If you're not practicing, you know that your competitors are. So you just put in the laps. But it's kind of hard to really dial in a car here naturally. If you just get a car that can suck up, pretty much take it and run with it. So it's not like you're at Dover or Darlington or Kansas turning laps to fine tune your car. So it's all about just, can it suck, can it push, and take it from there.
Well, it definitely seemed like it worked out well for you for sure. You're able to work your way up to P1, and I do believe this is this the only win this season? I know you've won before, but is this the only win this season?
I've never won in this league, so this is the very first one
so
in
that
ISCA.
No way. So hold on, because like I was right there with Big Al. Big Al was like, I think he's won before. So this is your first win.
Yep, it's the very first time winning this league.
To me.
Yep. So usually, you know, it's hard to beat Gitter and Hoffman and Pasalaka. I mean, it's just, and Heitman. I mean, it's just tough. This league is very competitive. So when I get a good car, they seem to be better. So, you know, I wasn't the fastest one tonight, but I was at the right place at the right time.
Well, you definitely. How much does this mean to you? I mean, that makes it a whole nother level. This is your first win in the ISCA. I mean, what does this mean to you?
Oh, it means a ton. Now I can talk shit to my dad, you know, because he's got that one at Daytona or Talladega, so he can't bump his gums anymore. I could talk a little shit. I could talk some shit to Brandon, because Brandon's always up front. So now I feel okay.
Well, that's good. You got it out the way. That you know, is not holding you back anymore. Do you feel like this is increasing your confidence when it comes to, you know, racing in this series, maybe to go after the title?
I mean, momentum's everything. So if you can keep it going, that's great. I got a goal of at least making it to the round of 8. I mean, I did it last year in my first year with these guys. Naturally, you want to go to the championship 4, but I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, the competitiveness in this league is crazy. So naturally, that's the overall goal. But one I think I could reach is the round of 8, but I would love to get to the round of 4 for sure. And this helps, you know, you get a few bonus points. I don't have as many as the rest of them in front of me in the standings, but every little bit helps.
For sure. Of course, next week's Darlington. How do you feel about the track too tough to tame?
I love that place. When I first joined this league, I got my first podium there. So I'm definitely going to put in the time. Hopefully I'll talk to you guys again.
Well, we definitely hope so as well. Who can we give a shout out to after your win here tonight? First victory.
Naturally,
we gotta hype that up. First win.
That's right. That's right. I want to thank you and Al for calling the race. You guys do an awesome job every week. I want to thank my boys back at Paradigm. I need to thank my sponsors, OB Builders and Ram Welding and Fabrication. And thank Kenny for putting on the league.
All righty. We definitely appreciate you, Randy, and we'll see you next week at Darlington.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Yes, sir. That was Randy Mullins, of course, driver of the 54. And, wow, Randy's in the top 5. You love to see it, though, for sure. I mean, definitely a deserving win, for sure. Big Al, any final thoughts here before we close down the broadcast?
Yeah, congratulations to Randy. And my apologies to Mr. Gitter, because I was definitely incorrect. But, or DeCiani. But yeah, man, great race, great production. I mean, it was a lot. It's gonna be a lot to unpack. But yeah, we'll just keep moving on.
Yeah, this is definitely gonna be one I think we're gonna remember for a
thanks
while.
to Kenny. I want to thank Kenny especially for putting my beautiful mug on his car, and then just going out there and letting everybody just turn it to a pinata.
That's right. Everybody took their frustrations out on Big Al tonight. That is just, yeah. I definitely appreciate Greg Wachinski putting my face on his car as well. This is definitely an interesting race to say the least, for sure. And I think I got to be honest, our faces on those cars is what caused all these cautions here tonight. I have a feeling. But we definitely thank everybody for running in this series here tonight. Thank you for everybody that was watching out there. Of course, thank you, Kobe Jordan, for bringing us all the camera angles, showing us all the accidents so we can kind of analyze them. There were definitely enough to analyze here tonight here at Daytona. Looking forward to next week, though. We're going to be heading to Darlington. That is my home track. I live 15 minutes away from that racetrack, so I won't have to go too far to get to the booth, that's for sure. We'll be starting the broadcast around 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The race itself will go green a little after 9:30. Looking forward to that one. That was going to be a tough one. There are going to be a lot of guys hitting the wall at that racetrack. There's going to be some burnt up tires. It's going to be fun. I can't wait. You're only going to see it here on the ISCA, though. We'll see you then.
I found the ISCA after I'd been in the service for a long time. I'd been in iRacing for well over a decade and spent most of my time in NASCAR series, a lot of fixed racing for the most part, and really just got to a point in my iRacing career where I really wanted to get involved in open setup racing versus fixed, partially because I was just looking for a little higher level of competition, you know, maybe a little cleaner driving and maybe get away from some of the challenges that go along with fixed racing on the service. And it took me a while as I was really searching out leagues because I kind of had a very specific thing I was looking for. A, I wanted to be an established league. You know, B, I just really wanted clean, quality drivers to be racing around. And once I found the ISCA, I found out really quick that it was going to check all those boxes.